Hello, everyone. Welcome. It is Thursday night. It is time for revolutionary change. I'm Jen Perelman.
I'm Peter Hager, and I'm going to have to do something about this lighting at some point, at least until it really gets dark, because it's giving off almost like a white room type of vibe.
A little bit. A little bit.
Sorry about that. Well,
That's all right.
That's the breaks for doing a live stream, right?
Yeah. You're a little choppy, though.
I am.
You aren't right this second, but you were just this. You were.
That's not good. We got to take care of that.
Yeah. Well,
I don't want to have
maybe it's me. It's not you. It's me.
It's definitely you. No, it's definitely you. Just like everything else. Remember, was okay. Okay. Colin says it's okay.
Okay.
Z says I'm freezing. Okay.
All right. It's good.
How
are you feeling?
I'm feeling fine. I, got this kind of knocked out now. So.
Okay.
I couldn't get rid of the cough, but I went to finally work out for the first time at the gym today in a week. Felt like forever. Shortness of breath, all these first world problems, lots of things that I really didn't want to deal with, but you do what you got to do, right?
Yes, you do.
So we obviously have a lot to cover tonight, and there's going to be a lot of interesting stories, but I am going to need a second. So I know you said that you wanted to talk about, I don't even know if you forwarded this to Colin or not, but I know you said you wanted to talk about
Alexis?
Yeah.
I didn't forward it to him. I just wanted to tell you, I think we should talk about her.
Okay. I think it's fine. If you want, I can send Colin the clip if you just want to pull it up, because this is the only decent Jewish person besides Jen that we'll be talking about tonight. There is going to be an ungodly...
Yeah, I want to promote her race.
Yeah, there's... To say that Jerry Seinfeld is one of several, he just happens to be perhaps the very worst of all of the liberal Zios that are out in full force right now. I mean, I thought we were going to get our fill from Bernie and freaking Gwyneth Paltrow, but Jerry said...
Gwyneth Paltrow?
Gwyneth Paltrovich. You got to say it. You got to say it right. You got to say it right. Yeah, but Seinfeld stepped in and was like, "Why do you think that I was not the most offensive person?"
You're breaking up. You're breaking up. You're breaking up.
All right. Let me. I will be back in a minute. Let me restart. You can, Colin. This is for Jen. I sent you the clip.
It's like you're giving him like the instructions like a babysitter.
Please do. Okay. All right. I'll be right back.
Okay. We'll miss you. So this candidate that we're going to talk about, I'll give you guys the backstory of how I met her, because it's actually kind of an entertaining story. So for people who don't know, I went it was November 4th of 23 to the first big protest for Palestine in DC. And there were, it was like 400,000 people. It was massive. We've talked about it. And I was with a friend of mine who is married to a Palestinian woman. And my friend is a Jewish woman, and she's married to a Palestinian woman. And so we're at this event, and there's so many people and there's so many signs. And I've talked about how impossible it was to even hook up with people at this event. And yet we see this sign way off in the distance, and it says, "Queer Moms for Palestine." And so now my friend's like, "We have to go meet them. We have to go meet them." And I'm like, all right. So we ended up weaving through this whole thing, and my friend ended up getting to meet this woman, and her name is Alexis. And it turns out that she is now running for Congress in Maryland. And so I wanted to show you guys her. No, who's married? Yeah, no, I'm not a lesbian. So I wanted to show you guys the clip that Alexis put out for her campaign, which I had sent to Peter. Colin, did he send it to you, or is he just totally out of it?
Yeah, it's right below. It's titled Alexis.
Okay, guys. So this is Alexis. This is the cool woman that I was dragged across. I can't even tell you how many thousands of people to talk to this woman. And she actually is really nice. So We are going to talk to her. Where did it go? I saw it a second ago. Is it this? No, it's not that. Which one is it? Why don't
15
I
days
see it?
until the Maryland Democratic primary on June 23rd, I am running for Congress in Maryland's 6th Congressional District against an incumbent who votes with Republicans on things like thanking ICE and for pro-crypto legislation like the Genius Act that helps enrich Trump and his corruption. I'm also running against a billionaire who lost his last Senate bid after spending millions of dollars on it and is now trying to buy back his seat in the 6th Congressional District. But you won't believe what happened yesterday. I ran into David Trone, and this was after he ghosted 7 of the last public forums in a row, including a forum with the NAACP of Frederick. Now, you're probably wondering, why would David Trone and April McClain Delaney be hiding from the public? I had the same question. I think voters deserve to hear directly from the people who are running to represent them. But guess what happened? He committed to a debate if April McClain Delaney also joins us on the debate stage. So great, let's do it. We need a representative in Maryland's 6th District who shows up, who answers questions, who fights for working families. So to make sure that voters in Maryland 6 have an educated choice, please tag your favorite local journalist in the comments, tag April McClain Delaney, and tag David Trone. And if you don't live in Maryland, share this video to your stories so we can get the message out and hold David Trone and April McClain Delaney accountable. If you'd like to learn more about my platform to abolish ICE and ban AI data centers federally, please go to electalexis.org, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.
So guys, go over there, and even if you forget donate, just follow her on social media. Help boost her social media. That's all you got to do. Just go over and follow her and share it and just help her out. That's all. Just spread love for Alexis. She's very cool. So just letting you know. And was at a pro-Palestine rally right off the bat. So she is one of our people.
Am I looking better? Sounding better?
Yes, that's better.
Okay.
All right. So it's Alexis for Maryland 6. That's what we're talking about.
Cool.
I don't support the party. I support individuals.
Yeah.
I support individuals that aren't corporate whores and do what their constituents want them to do and on the right side of history. Yeah, it is sort of a negative if they're affiliated with the Dems, but sometimes that's just how it is.
Yeah.
But I'm very not psyched on all electoral politics right now. I'm not so sure it makes a huge difference, but at a minimum, we could at least be showing support for her, spreading her campaign, because she's running against filthy whores. Okay. So if we could at least, promote, that's all I'm trying to do.
Well, it's like Jose Vega, he's a great candidate and there's a lot to like about him. And at the same time, we're going to
that would probably help if you had a curtain behind you.
Like you?
Well, no, that's not a curtain. That's a room divider. Because if I open that up, then it's like chickens everywhere.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
There's a big reason why we don't like the Democratic Party. There's many reasons we don't like it. And I think we're going to continue to hone in on this issue that is going to continue to rise as tomorrow is filing day if you are in the state of Florida. And so we will know for sure who is going to be on the ballot in August for Florida's 20th congressional district, which is the one of 2 prominent races in the state, the other one being Dan Bilzerian against Randy Fine, Florida's 6th district. As far as any of the statewide races are concerned, there is really nothing to pay attention to there. By the way, the GOP, again, this is the thing where, we bash the shit out of the Democrats. We bash the Democrats harder than the Republicans because the Democrats pretend to be something that they're not in a way that the Republicans don't.
Right.
So,
and they're less democratic. Let's be clear that the Democrats are less democratic. Their party is less democratic. Republicans don't have super delegates.
No.
So again, these are just facts. I know people don't like that, but it is what it is.
So the GOP declared today that only Byron Donalds has qualified for the debate stage.
By himself?
That's it. By himself. That's it.
I guess Fishback's out, huh?
Fishback, Collins, anybody else? Goodbye. We have selected our next governor. We don't really need you to vote because we all know the Democrats can't win. So we would rather just get this over with as soon as possible.
Kinda. And I don't blame them, quite honestly, at this point. That's how silly it is. Because it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter who the Democrat is. That's silly.
No,
I mean, is it David Jolly? First of all, that is not a serious name. So I don't see how that can be taken seriously.
It was serious enough for him to be a congressman in Florida for the Republican Party.
Nice. What I would say is I started telling people, I want to say a year ago at least, that your next governor is Byron Donalds. That's just that's where it is. Because in Florida, it's really more like seats get bequeathed than elected. It's just the way it is.
That way. And, when we have been talking at length about why we need to make sure that Wasserman Schultz does not win, we definitely have our reasons. Sheila Scherfels McCormick is going to be coming onto our podcast very soon. And I am going to continue to make it very clear to anyone who understands anything about electoral politics that she is the only person who can defeat Wasserman Schultz in August. That is a fact. And the more things that we will unfortunately have to reveal regarding Elijah,
I hate doing this.
Anybody else, this is a reality. I don't care about anybody's feelings. I do not fucking care. And if anybody knows me, knows that I mean what I say. And so I have one objective and only one, and that is to make sure Wasserman Schultz does not win. That's it. Everything else doesn't matter. It's all a waste.
I guess it matters. It's hard because I didn't want to have to go down this.
No, the person chose political violence, and he'll get political violence if that's the road he wants. I didn't ask for it. We have questions for Sheila too. She ain't coming on here for softball. She is going to be allowed to explain what happened, and you will decide for yourself if you believe what she has to say.
Did you see the text I sent you with what I sent to Sheila?
Yes, I did. And it's true.
Yeah. So, but her responses were very, very political jargon. They were.
And she's going to learn very quickly that either she really wants this or she's willing to lose it. Because if she's not willing to take the gloves off, if she is not willing to do what is necessary, then you're going to end up in a situation where Debbie will find a way in with 20 to 25% of the vote, and that'll be the end.
Yes. Well, that's what I've said before. And for people who don't know how this works, I believe that Debbie already has her votes. She already has all her votes lined up, and it's whatever percentage that she knows that she's going to need to beat the rest of the people that are all going to be fighting amongst themselves. And she already knows that, and she already has her votes lined up. So the question for the people in District 20 is, how are you going to allocate the rest of the votes? And from what we know, it doesn't look like they're going to get in line, and it looks like there's somebody who's going to be a really big spoiler in that race. And it's going to end up being Debbie's seat.
Here is yet another reason why Wasserman Schultz must be defeated. And I don't give up. Like I said, I don't care about anybody here who is supporting Elijah or thinks that he has a chance to win. He doesn't. And there are many reasons for that. Now, let's get back to business. And let it be explained from the best left progressive on Capitol Hill. And I'm not talking about an elected official.
Oh, I just heard some terrible news. House Democratic leaders have just appointed one of my least favorite members of Congress, AIPAC darling Debbie Wasserman Schultz, to a seat on the Foreign Affairs Committee, the committee that shapes U.S. policy around the world. Do you know who DWS, as she is known, is? You might remember that in 2016, she was forced to resign as DNC chair after leaked emails revealed that she helped rig the presidential primary in favor of Hillary Clinton and against Bernie Sanders. And on Israel, she loves Israel and continues to champion unconditional support for Israel. That makes her totally out of step with 80%, yes, 80% of Democrats in this country who do not love Israel, to put it mildly, and do not want to keep sending our tax dollars there. She was one of only 22 Democrats who joined Republicans in censoring Rashida Tlaib. And she's been repeatedly attacking progressive members of Congress for criticizing Israel. She condemned the International Court of Justice when it ruled against Israel. She attacked the Obama administration for allowing a UN resolution condemning Israeli settlements to pass. And oh, did I mention that she has received nearly $1 million from AIPAC? She is equally atrocious on Latin America. She has consistently supported crushing sanctions that have hurt the people of Cuba and Venezuela. She's opposed Obama's administration normalization policy with Cuba.
And let me just say, for anybody who doesn't know South Florida politics and doesn't know Wasserman Schultz's relationships with fellow congressional representatives, it is a well-known fact that there is no politician, no congressional representative that Wasserman Schultz has been more cordial with, more aligned with in South Florida. Would you care to guess who? No, it's not Lois Frankel. No, it's not even Jared Zio Pussy Moskowitz. No, it's Mario Diaz-Balart. One of the most over-the-top, let's just say, anti-Cuba Cubans.
Well, but he's cute, right? I mean, he is of that group, that Cuban group, like Marco Rubio.
Oh yeah.
That, and we talk about this regularly, that the wealthy people that leave countries that have socialist uprisings and those people come here, they do support our country in crushing those socialist uprisings, because what they want is to go back and be in the elite class again. So whenever you meet people, whether it's Cuba, Venezuela, Iran, I mean, it's probably all of them, quite honestly. And there are people that support our intervention. It's because they are in the top class of the class war, and it worked for them. So that's the Cuba.
She belongs to the right-wing Congressional Cuba Democracy Caucus. And as a member of the Appropriations Committee, she has repeatedly...
I actually did not know that. You learned something new today.
What? That she's on the appropriations?
No, listen again. Listen to what Medea said.
Opposed Obama's administration normalization policy with Cuba. She belongs to the right-wing Congressional Cuba Democracy Caucus. And as a member of the Appropriations Committee, she has repeatedly supported huge Pentagon budgets while millions of Americans struggle to afford health care and housing and education. So at a moment when Democratic voters overwhelmingly reject Israel and militarism, Democratic Party leaders, that's Hakeem Jeffries and the top Democrat on the House Foreign Affairs Committee, Gregory Meeks, have just rewarded one of the most hawkish members of Congress with a coveted seat on the committee that shapes U.S. foreign policy. What does that say about the Democratic leadership?
Well, they're useless. There is no Democrat. Guys, the Democratic Party is a facade. It's not, I mean... Yes, there are a few people. There's people like Alexis running in Maryland who are decent people that are trying. Anthony Aguilar. There's people that are running in politics that are decent people, but in general, it's not gonna matter.
No, but it is also a reflection of why Wasserman Schultz is still pulling the strings behind the scenes, and we're going to talk about this with Sheila. And we're going to talk about it with you. Notice how you have a situation here where you have Elijah Manley, Luther Campbell, possibly even Dale Holness getting...
Wait, can we back up for a second? Because I saw a couple people in the chat asking. So we are talking about Florida's District 20. Florida's District 20, and we've mentioned it before on the show, but Peter doesn't always do the best background job. So I'll give the backstory. So
Jesus Christ!
Don't get seriously. I'm playing. Like, just be chill. So Florida's District 20 is what's the percentage black? It's like 80%.
It's like it's like I think it's like 60-65%, but still, it's I think the splits are, if I remember correctly, it may be like 60 black, 26 Latino, and then like 14 white or something like that.
Okay, so Debbie is running in this district that she's never represented. She doesn't live in, and she doesn't look like anybody really in that district. And she's running against a handful of other candidates that are all black in this predominantly black district. Now, Debbie will say that she has so much experience representing a majority minority district. And as we have pointed out, that's bullshit. And somebody was asking me what class I am. Honestly, I'm with the working class people. I am of that. And if you're not that, I don't know. But Debbie she is basically coming into a neighborhood that isn't hers, and knowing that with the other candidates splitting up the rest of the vote, the black candidates splitting up the rest of the vote, she knows that she can actually win this seat with 20% of the vote?
Something in that neighborhood, but yes.
Right. And people don't realize this. So in a primary, they'll be lucky if they get an 18% voter turnout rate in this primary. So an 18% voter turnout rate. And then of those people, a whole bunch of them are going to split voting amongst the candidates that they are familiar with, the black candidates in the district.
Jen?
And then she'll get whatever she gets. And I am convinced she already has her votes lined up.
And one of the reasons she has those votes, Jen, could you please introduce the audience once more to Anthony Tony Mann?
Oh, God, this man. Literally this man. So Tony Mann is the political reporter for the Sun Sentinel. Guys, the Sun Sentinel is a shitty, it's garbage. It's silly. It's basically just a little Democratic Party publication, right?
Let's not cut half their faces off. Let's show their face. Let's go. There you go.
All right. So these are the four other primary candidates that are in that race that Debbie is running in Florida's District 20. Okay. Now, Peter and I know all of these people personally, all of them. And there's a lot of things we can say about these people personally, but we're not going to do that, right? We're not going to do that. We're going to keep it very professional.
This is all about the community.
Correct. And I am saying this to anybody who knows anybody in District 20. If you all do not force these people to consolidate, you will have Debbie Wasserman Schultz until she dies.
Scroll down.
So it's that simple. And now we get into why we think that the best option is Sheila. Okay. And there's a lot of history there. And again, I know all of these people, and this isn't personal. This is who's most likely and best capable to beat Debbie Wasserman Schultz based on how much money they have, how much connections they have, how much experience they have, all of it. And Sheila's the one that can do it. And so this is going to infuriate me, because anything that comes out of Tony Mann's fat fucking face infuriates me.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, the guy has been a hack of the worst kind for Wasserman Schultz for
Sheila
decades.
should have never let him into that party that she let him into that time, ever.
Yeah.
He's a snake.
So again, this is Tony Mann writing here, which basically means he's the ghostwriter of Debbie Wasserman Schultz.
Correct.
Efforts by black congressional candidates and political leaders to coalesce around one challenger to U.S. Debbie Wasserman. You see, Tony, when you don't edit your writing because you're so quick to shove this out there.
I told you it was a shitty publication. When I first moved back to Florida and I saw a printed copy of one, I actually went through it with a red pen. I cannot tell you how many edits I was able to make. It's a shitty publication. U.S.
Debbie Wasserman Schultz. No, Israel Wasserman Schultz apparently have failed. Elijah Manley, notice how he leads with Elijah Manley. That's not a mistake. One of 4 black candidates in the Broward County 20th Congressional District race, officially qualified as a candidate on Wednesday.
See, you want the red pen with this shit.
Dealing a blow to the unity effort. A second blow to the effort came later in the day when another of the 4 candidates, former U.S. Rep. Sheila Sherfless McCormick, she too said she would qualify as a candidate. Okay, so I want to give you guys
That's why this is not a good, this is why, fortunately, the Sun Sentinel's reach and their audience is a very specific group of people, generally people that are older than 60. That's just, nobody else reads this shit.
Correct. And so I want to be very clear here. And this is one of the reasons why I'm not going to name names, but I'm just going to tell you that in politics, more people than you could possibly fathom are useful idiots.
Yes.
Whether they know
the
it or
rest
not,
of them are purposefully useful and nefarious.
I am going to explain this as simply as I can. Sheila Sherfless McCormick, regardless of what you think of her, has not been convicted of any crime. She has been elected 3 times to the United States Congress. She has served that district for over 5 years. The idea that you are not even referencing the fact that she is the congressional representative of this district.
He says former,
on top of the fact that he puts her second after Elijah Manley.
Right.
This is not by accident. This is intentional.
Guys, media literacy. Read it through. This is media literacy. It's what we talk about.
Finally, candidate Dale Holness said he would officially qualify to get on the ballot. It seems as if everybody's going to qualify. We'll see where it goes.
Guys, Sheila's beaten him 3 times. 3. For this seat. Well, different district, but yeah.
The State Division of Elections shows Manley's candidacy as official. He describes himself in a telephone interview as the best candidate to take on Wasserman Schultz in this race.
Yeah, where were you, Elijah, when I was running twice?
The campaign manager for the 4th candidate, Luther Campbell, Uncle Luke, didn't immediately respond to requests for comment. All 4 participated in meetings, including a marathon 4-hour session Monday in Pompano Beach, aimed at coming up with one black candidate in the primary against Wasserman Schultz, who is white. She is? Couldn't have guessed
I can't believe he wrote that. Tony, man, just seriously, you suck. I don't even understand how you can call yourself a reporter. You're a stenographer. You're a stenographer. And not even a good one. My dad's way better. My dad's a court reporter. He could do this way better.
No, and honestly, guys, if you saw Tony, man, you know who he is in the flesh. He's the South Florida version of Michael Tracy is basically what he is.
We are going to get Sheila on, guys. I was texting with her today. I'm working on it.
She'll be on very soon. Candidates have until Friday to translate their stated intentions of running into official candidates on the primary ballot. So there is still some time for the candidates to come up with an agreement or all get on the ballot. A candidate who qualifies by the deadline could still drop out, but a later decision would preclude running for another office in 26. At this point, I am in the fight through August, Manley said, a comment that does not completely preclude his changing course. I definitely want consolidation, but we are running out of time, and we can't wait until the last minute. I have to say,
I agree, Elijah.
If there is one thing that I want you guys to understand about Elijah Manley, and for a lot of you progressives out there, including you, Carolina, I see what you've been doing on social media. I hope you tune in and you listen, because I've been reaching out to you. You're not responding to my messages.
No, they are all in their feels. They're all in their fucking feels. And this is why South Florida gets owned by people like Debbie Wasserman Schultz.
Right. Let me assure you that the only person who is not considering playing ball here to make sure that Debbie doesn't win is Elijah Manley. He's the only one. And this is on good authority. So
let's just say Peter is a friend who is in that meeting. But
So
we know.
So the point is, if you speak this way about we should do what's best for the district, and the thing that you say to the former mayor of Broward County, the current congressional representative, and a person who is revered in the Black community for his art for many decades, that they should all drop out and get behind you without saying, we really need to assess what's best for this district. And if they decide that I'm the person, then that's it. Instead, what do you say? You go to the 3 other candidates and say, get the fuck out. I'm the one to do this. And you wonder why
someone's blowing smoke up his ass. Someone's blowing smoke up his ass. Somebody's propping him up. And we know that he's not sitting on enough money to do shit. So this is a problem.
Question. What's your motivation?
Well, my thought with Elijah is either it's some sort of plant situation and it's just part of the thing through Debbie, whatever, and just getting in there, or he has truly become that delusional and egotistical that he really just thinks that makes sense. Now, I don't see how he could think that makes sense. And let's be clear, that district, those primary voters are not going to vote for him. They're not.
No.
They're just not. And the fact that he would sit there and somehow think that these 3 other candidates who have more experience, both professionally and life-wise, then, there's no comparison. And they should all get out of the race to give it to someone who's sitting on 20 grand. How much money is Debbie sitting on?
$2.5 million.
Okay, Elijah, you're going to need more than 20 grand right now.
You're going to need
more
than
than you've blown through like $500,000.
No, you're going to need more than 2 million.
Right.
Because at the end of the day, you're not an elected official. And I am not telling people that have never been elected that they can't run for Congress, but you have to have something to fall back on. Sheila was a successful business owner operator for over a decade in South Florida and was somebody who was one of 3 companies in the entire state that was chosen to be the distributor for the COVID vaccine. Like, there are people who actually have Dale Holness, and there's a lot to say about him. Trust me.
There's a lot to say about all of these people.
Correct.
Let's be clear.
But if you are doing this under the pretense that you think that people should just back away because you say that they should, because you got into the race first, that this is the 6th race that you've run in the last decade, this is beyond absurd at this point. I don't want to go after people, but you're making it very hard not to. And that is the point. Because, and as I've said before, you threw Jen under the bus. So if that's the case, then trust me, you're fair game. And there's a lot of things that I could say, but I'm not going to say it. I am only saying what needs to be said, because in the end, this is all about making sure that Wasserman Schultz doesn't get that seat. That is the only thing that matters. And the only reason why Sheila is the one for the job is because she's already had it. She's had it for 5 years. She represents the demographic that votes. She is a middle-aged Black Haitian woman, the first in the history of Congress. She's from there. The people are from there. She just got endorsed by a very powerful member of the Caribbean community last night. This stuff, people don't understand that even when it comes to these types of elections, with rare exceptions, like when you make a big deal about Kat, sorry, I can't help it because she's a liberal, warmonger to begin with. But most of these congressional,
this is what I'm working on right now. That's a problem.
Yeah,
it's a problem. I don't know the answer to that, and yes, I do want to find out more about that. I agree.
Yeah, to be that determining factor, I think is a big deal. I do think that Elijah should have to answer for why did he convert to Judaism in the last 5-6 years.
Elijah, what's with that?
What is that?
You could walk around with a big Jewish star in your neck?
Yeah, he was doing that.
For him, everything's a political move. Everything's a political move with him. So it's all just about schmoozing, playing the game. He likes the life. He likes the people. He likes the whole thing. I actually don't think he would know what to do if he actually got the job.
No.
So there's that. But at the end of the day, he's out of his league. He's out of his league.
You're out of your element, Donnie.
You're out of your element, Donnie.
And so I want to show you all real quick why this is not a joke, why this is serious business. And if you don't understand why Debbie has to go, here's an example of the other shitbag congressional representative in South Florida who likes to push legislation like this. Like Debbie just got
Wait,
promoted.
who are we showing?
Oh, your favorite.
Oh, Zio Pussy.
Yeah, there he
Okay.
is.
Behold the Zio Pussy.
Bill shouldn't be
Okay.
necessary. It shouldn't be necessary. We shouldn't have to do this. We're not doing this because it's optional. We're doing it because it is necessary. If people stop trying to hurt Jewish kids in preschools, we won't have to build walls around them.
Excuse me. Jared, where were people trying to hurt Jewish kids in preschools? We just bombed an Iranian school. Is there some sort of rash of Jewish preschool massacres that's been going on that Jared is somehow privy to that the rest of us don't know about? Jared, you can put as much product as you want in your hair. You're not gaining any height. Okay. This little man, and I mean a very little man. I don't know what he's talking about. What is he talking about?
And it shouldn't be lost on anybody that the extremely taller person over his right shoulder is Mr. Goldman of the Levi Strauss fortune, who is so very likely and hopefully losing his congressional seat in a couple of weeks, 2 weeks, 12 days to be exact, to anti-Zionist Jewish man, Brad Lander. So hopefully that will be the case. And hopefully it will be the case for Mousy as well.
If people stop trying to, blow up synagogues, that we wouldn't have to have armed guards at every entrance.
Blowing up
No,
synagogues.
Jared. God.
But we're seeing all over the country now people going to synagogues to stage foreign policy protests.
Yeah.
We see people in the street, Jews in the street, wearing a Jewish star, having to put that Jewish star away. And if they don't, they're accosted. And so, look, when I was the former director of emergency management.
What evidence? What is he talking about? What is he talking about? Am I missing something?
This is
In the
called
state
the
of Florida. In Florida, that was the department that the non-security grant money went through. And so I processed all of the applications in the state of Florida for all of the schools and the synagogues that got this federal nonprofit dollars.
Big man,
So let me
Jared.
say,
Yeah, you really are. Like, why don't you just go work? Why don't you go work for the same organization of the previous Congressman, Ted Deutsch, that is now making triple as I suspected he was making on Capitol Hill? That's all you're good for. This is the Jewish Americans Security Act. That's what he's spending his time working on Capitol Hill.
Because that's what we need. That's what we need. We don't need housing or health care or a living wage or clean water. We don't need those things. We need to make sure that something that isn't happening doesn't happen. That's fucking brilliant, Jared. How many years did it take you to come up with that? Or did your APAC handler just hand that to you?
Pretty much.
What a fucking bootlicker he is.
You can say that again. And this is, and in conclusion, when we say that our primary objective is to make sure that Wasserman Schultz is removed from federal politics forever, this is why we are not fucking around with this race. We are not taking any chances, and we are going to use all the knowledge and all the know-how, everything we have to make sure Debbie doesn't win.
And that means that those people have to consolidate behind the candidate that's most likely to be able to beat Debbie. See, it's a math thing. And for Elijah, it's an ego grifting thing. And I don't care if he went on with Jake Tapper. I don't care if he went on with Sabby, because at the end of the day, he's out of his fucking element. And he's been going after Sheila Hart from day one. And quite honestly, Debbie's the one who initiated all this ethics investigations into Sheila in the first place. And again, I will say it again. I am not swearing that Sheila's innocent. I don't know. But I do know that the filthiest fucking congressperson that we have in the vicinity, in that area, is Debbie Wasserman Schultz, not Sheila Sherfilis McCormick. So for Debbie to be like going after Sheila is laughable. It's laughable. And the fact that Elijah was so willing to just jump in there and go like, what? So I have to wonder. And I think some things are very interesting. So I know that he's really close with Dean Trantelis, mayor of Fort Lauderdale. That's great. So they're really tight. That's great. But Dean Trantelis endorsed Debbie Wasserman Schultz. But Elijah's in this race. I thought they were really close. I don't know. I think it's very interesting. I think it looks like, I think it's, what do you call it? Phony candidates?
I think he's hitching his wagon to Wasserman Schultz, even though he's projecting that he really hates her.
Exactly.
Behind the scenes. And in the end, this is about the life. And if there's anybody who can speak to the desire to want to live that life, when you work, it's one thing to work as a journalist. It is another thing entirely to work as a journalist on Capitol Hill. And I mean really work as a journalist on Capitol Hill, because we all know that there are people that are there that are just doing it for clicks. They're not actually trying to assess what is happening, what isn't happening. And I got to tell you, Jen, Julian Andreone is somebody who I have been paying very close attention to for several months now. And he is working with Ryan Grimm's Drop Site News. And to say that he is doing a great job would be an understatement. I personally think he's the best on the Hill right now. And so anytime anybody is trying to get a soundbite, a legitimate soundbite, not one that's just a hot take, one that actually has substance, Julian is doing that work. And so without further ado, since he's here early and time is always of the essence, let's play ball. Julian, welcome to Revolutionary Change.
Hey, thanks, guys. Thanks so much for having me.
Hi, it's nice to meet you.
Very nice to meet you.
So,
Jen,
Peter, I know this was particular, but I did see, Julian, was your most recent upload was Alex, right? Was that something that happened very recently? Was there an interview with Alex? Is that what I caught?
Believe so.
I'm going to play the clip that I think is of the most importance, because you could call it a hodgepodge, if you will, of a lot of different people. But before we get started, I do have to point something out that I did notice in your bio. Jen, Julian went to a school that you're very familiar with.
I know. I saw that. You're a Northwestern alum like me.
I am. Yes, I just graduated in June of 25. Well, actually, technically, I got my degree in December of 25, but walked the stage in June. Yeah.
Okay. So I did IMC Masters at Medill.
Okay.
And okay, right. So, but I was in I want to say we might have been the second graduating class of the IMC program. Okay. I want to say it was 94. I'm old. I'm very old. This was a long time ago. But yeah, so I was a grad student at Medill, and I thought it was awesome.
Yeah, no, it's a really great network of journalists and people who are involved in a bunch of important stories. And so they have people who come and talk to you, as you know, and you get your feet wet pretty early. So, but big part of the reason why I got my start on Capitol Hill was because of the Medill on the Hill program. When I was a sophomore in college, I basically was up here in DC for about a year and grew relationships on the Hill that have since lasted and sort of got me the job that sent me towards the job that I'm working now.
Yeah. See, so note to anybody in the chat, whoever says that I'm not really qualified as a journalist, I went to the same school at Julian. Okay.
Well, I don't know that I don't know that I'm the benchmark, but I'm working towards it. So.
Well, you definitely have our attention, and clearly you're making an impact. There's no two ways about it. So here, I believe this is from either Tuesday or Wednesday. This is just a small example of the solid work that Julian is doing on the Hill.
It's on the Pentagon reclassifying Israel as a critical level threat, a counterintelligence threat.
I didn't see that story.
In the New York Times this weekend?
No, I don't read the New York Times cover to cover every weekend. Sometimes
that's a big story, though.
Sometimes I'm with my children.
Can you look at how little he is? Can you all look at this very little man? I can see the top of his head. I've seen the top of his head.
Well, Julian, I could tell you're over 6 feet tall, but yes, it is one of those things where, you know, you meet some of these guys and you're like, okay, I see where the Napoleon complex is coming from. But it's interesting when you start doing this on a daily basis and you realize the ones that are clearly on the take and how irritated they get from the slightest amount of pushback.
Yeah, I mean, I think one thing that I've noticed is, since being on Capitol Hill is there's a level of entitlement, especially among members of the Democratic establishment towards the media. I think that they are often shocked when members of the media challenge them on anything. If I go and confront somebody on a stock trade, if I ask them about Israel, which is a topic that tends to be evaded on Capitol Hill and among journalists and politicians alike, they're sort of shocked. They approach it with this idea like, oh, I thought we had a deal. I thought that we weren't going to talk about these things. And I think the approach that I've taken, that Ryan and I have decided to take here, is that we're kind of going to go gloves off. We've faced a bunch of institutional hurdles since trying to do that. But I think that we're just going to go up there and really try to, like, boots on the ground, shoe leather, bird dog it, and really, like, bring the things that people care about to these people. I mean, you've seen sort of the Epstein reporting that we're doing at Dropsite. These are things that people talk about, but if you bring them up as issues on the Hill, they consider them salacious. I remember Senator Cassidy, the first time I brought up Epstein to Senator Cassidy, he told me it was tawdry. And I think that there are certain things that there are certain things on the Hill that are considered non-issues that I think people on the ground really care about. And I think the work of a journalist is to respond to what working people in this country care about. We're trying to disseminate information for people who don't have the money to buy a senator or to buy a representative, or who don't have the money to chip in to break through the paywall. I mean, none of our stuff at Dropsite is paywalled. We're trying to deliver real journalism for working class people, not driven by any corporate interests or conglomerates or advertisers. Real information that's honest and truthful.
Couldn't agree more. Here we go.
I mean, if our ally is being classified as a counterintelligence threat, I mean, what would you advise?
I think every country spies on each other.
But critical level, that's like with our top adversaries. That's higher than some of our other adversaries. Dropsite's Capitol Hill correspondent Julian Andreone here. I was up on the Hill today asking members about the Defense Intelligence Agency reclassifying Israel as a critical level counterintelligence threat against the United States. What does that mean? Now, Israel, supposedly our special ally, is on the same playing field in terms of the threat that they pose in espionage to the United States as our top adversaries. They're even above some of our other adversaries. So I wanted to ask members of Congress, are they being a good ally by supposedly bugging our Secret Service vehicles and tapping the phones of our top White House officials? Let's see what they had to say.
I mean, they drug us into the Iran war, and they're keeping the president in the Iran war, and that's not much of an ally, frankly. And it shouldn't be a surprise that Israel is spying on American officials.
Well, I mean, I think there's always kind of been some of these intelligence questions around the Israeli operation in terms of what's getting picked up in the United States and what's getting picked up otherwise. So I can't say that I find it,
Would you consider someone who's bugging our Secret Service vehicles and spying on our White House officials' phones to be an ally?
I mean, it's absolutely aggressive behavior for sure.
That's not an answer, Alex. Fucking word salad. She's like Kamala. Like, what did she just say?
The thing that you'll pick up on, which I'm sure you have already, is know the people that are thinking about the next rung on the ladder that they're attempting to climb. And so when you ask her point blank, is Israel an ally or not, because of her intentions, she won't even give an answer. It's like, well, it's like, no, that's even worse. Why don't you just say
that's her voting present? Is that your present vote, Alex? Thank you.
And credit to you for, not pulling any punches with your questions, being very direct, like, hey, are they our ally or not? And,
she can't answer.
Yeah, it is kind of interesting seeing it in real time where, you're talking about somebody who went from somebody who was being somewhat of a rebel rouser to now just every single thing that she says is calculated, and it is unfortunate to see, but this is your job. This is what being a journalist is about, is making them uncomfortable. You're not supposed to be friends with these guys. They have a job to do, and you're supposed to make sure that they do it.
Well, I think that would be unwelcome advice for many journalists in this city. I think a lot of them really enjoy the insider syndrome. I grew up quite wealthy in Los Angeles, kind of surrounded by a bunch of powerful and affluent people, and it always sort of disgusted me. And so when I came here, I wasn't really caught off guard by the allure of it. I wasn't really swept up. I kind of realized how these people tend to think about themselves. And to be clear, I'm not necessarily saying that about Alex, and nor making a broader commentary here. But I just think that I think that there are a lot of people on Capitol Hill who tend to craft their statements to sound good to the consultant class rather than to working people on the ground. And I think that the people who are breaking through these days, Thomas Massey being one of them, are speaking in really plain terms. I think they're people who, when you have the camera on or the camera off, they say the exact same things. And I think those are lessons that a lot of politicians who are coming onto the scene are learning. You're seeing progressive candidates speaking really bluntly across the country, but progressive incumbents perhaps not doing that.
Correct.
Thanks.
Yeah, the White House denied that report.
And you believe that denial?
Absolutely. Why would we do that?
Well,
they're our best ally in the world.
Well, that's sort of why that's relevant, right? The reporting they've
the White House says it's
supposedly bugged a Secret Service vehicle and spied on top White House officials' phones. I mean, is that something that if an ally were to do it, it would break off ties?
And the people who they supposedly did said it didn't happen.
You know, I got to be honest, man. You could tell you could tell he's out of breath. Are you trying to make him keel over? Because then he'll blame you if that happens. So I'm just saying.
Just walk a little faster, Julian. Just walk a little faster, and he'll try to get away. He won't be able to do it.
Goodness gracious.
He doesn't love me. He recently called. I think there's a broader lesson here, because it is like all fun and games for a while, but then he's somebody who almost everything he says is projection. So he called me a foreign agent. Obviously, I'm a 22-year-old kid who just graduated college. As we discussed, I'm making a modest salary. I am not a foreign agent. If I were, I'd love to see where that money is. But he's somebody who takes a boatload of money from the Israel lobby. And there are a lot of people who are in that boat who take a bunch of money from the Israel lobby who accuse others of being foreign agents, when in reality, I think they recognize that fact about themselves. They never vote against the interests of the Israeli government, and they also take the money. So it begs the question, is that a bribe, right? I mean, we're talking about campaign contributions, donations, and if you were taking those donations but voting independently and sometimes going for and sometimes going against those interests, that would be one thing. But if you're taking those donations and consistently 100% of the time voting in favor of those interests, I think it begs the question, are you getting paid for those votes?
Yes.
Yes.
I didn't see it. So
you didn't see that at all?
Oh, God.
So I don't know how well you know Jen, but I will have you know that this is the lady that, and I use the term lady very loosely with her. But Wasserman Schultz is who Jen ran against for the United States Congress. Can you briefly explain, in the probably hundreds of federally elected representatives that you've had the pleasure, or maybe not so much pleasure, in speaking with, how high on the list would you rank Wasserman Schultz of the most unlikable people that you've had to speak with?
Well, I'm not going to go down that road, but I will say that, she and I are not friends. She's not somebody who really chops it up with you or makes an effort to get to know who you are as a person behind the questions you're asking. I think somebody who's quite an institutionalist, an insider, and yeah, I mean, I've asked her question. She voted in favor of the clean FISA reauthorization a couple months ago, which would keep open the backdoor search loophole and the data broker loophole that would essentially allow President Trump and Stephen Miller to spy on American citizens. It was used, the backdoor search loophole was used to spy on Black Lives Matter protesters during 2020, and she voted in favor of that clean reauthorization with no warrant requirements. And I asked her afterwards whether the money she had taken from Oracle, a surveillance company, had anything to do with her views on surveillance. And she told me it was a ridiculous question. I mean, I think
saw that.
Yeah.
I saw that. I didn't realize it was you. I saw that. And she goes, what a ridiculous question.
Yeah. So somebody who has been involved in the DC circles for so long that it would shock me if she has any idea about the concerns of working people on the ground. And also
she doesn't care.
We know about her history at the DNC, obviously during the 2016 election, and some of the revelations that came out in the emails about the way that she was sort of skewing that primary towards Hillary Clinton and against Bernie Sanders. Those obviously signs of corruption there.
Agreed.
If they're spying on us, then they need to cut it out. We do too much. You go over there, go to Israel, and you have to. You can't take your cell phone because it gets bugged, and that's not the way allies are supposed to treat us.
Many people don't know who Congressman Burchett is, but he represents Knoxville, Tennessee. If you're looking for a good GOP congressman that you haven't heard of, Tim Burchett is that guy.
Thanks.
But I think that it shows you just exactly where we are, and the people are going to continue to remind us that the biggest threat right now is the wars that Bibi Netanyahu continue to send us on. I am not surprised. It's why they have the control over so many of our colleagues here in so many ways.
We'll be briefed on it, and you know me, I'm not going to make comments prior to understanding the full scope of exactly what's going on there.
No, Wesley, you won't make a comment until your donors tell you what that comment should be. That's what you're waiting for. Word. Oh, good God, what a corporate war.
What I really like about how you do your job is that you basically show the entire spectrum: conservative, liberal, on the take, not on the take. People like Congresswoman Ramirez, who is an honest operator, but also understands that there is certain language that she can't use because she has to break bread with other people within the party. And as I've often said, the thing about being in politics that, perhaps you've even experienced even in your early 20s is that you don't have to be corrupt. It's not a prerequisite, but you will have to work with people that are. You do not have a choice. Like, that is the nature of the job. But I do think that some people just feel they kind of get sucked into that world. Like you alluded to, when you grow up, affluent in Southern California, and you're taught really strong values about being an honest operator in society, you can go to DC and be like, I don't need this. I'm here to do a job. If I make some friends and, we end up hanging out at, some cool spots, on K Street or something like that, great. And if I don't, it's not the end of the world.
You have no idea. I mean, the number of times the bureaucracy and the insider circles try so many different ways to try to get you and to try to envelop you. There's annoyance, there's outright hostility, but there's also amicability, and there's these attempts to court you, and they tell you, oh, wouldn't you like to be a part of this group of other establishment journalists or political people? Wouldn't you like to be included? People don't really like when you do these sorts of things. What type of journalist do you want to be? Do you want to be an ambush journalist or an enterprise journalist? Real questions I've been asked. And I mean, my view is like, I am somebody who is entirely driven by purpose. I would sacrifice everything that I have personally to achieve what I view to be my purpose. I'm somebody who was born at the top of the ladder, and I always have thought that even though I had an easy route to like run towards the pot of gold, I always thought more about the people who were at the bottom of the ladder trying to figure out a way to climb up. And I think that was what drew me to DropSite. Like, I had an opportunity to take jobs that would have been more lucrative for me. I went to, as you know, one of the best journalism schools.
Yes, we did.
Yeah, we did. And I had opportunities to go and join corporate media organizations or even political campaigns or offices that would have paid me more than I'm making here, but I specifically proposed the salary I'm making here at Dropsite so that we would have the resources to do other things. And I think that I really have been I've been thrilled by the time that I've spent here because of the mission. And we're reporting on Epstein, we're reporting on Israel, we're giving honest news to people about what's going on in the world when almost no other places are, and it feels really fulfilling. And I know that people are benefiting from it because they come up to me and tell me on the street. And so I'm just I'm like over the moon and grateful for the opportunity, and I will like continue to work here regardless of what the salary or anything is. I don't care about any of that stuff or any of the cocktail parties.
No, and that's a privilege, right? Like that's the privilege, is that you can do that, and that's really cool. And I've said that all along. It's about lending your privilege. That's that's the whole point. Your parents must be really proud of you.
I think they are. Yeah, I think
they raised you nice. They raised you good, because you could have been a spoiled brat, basically.
I think that's probably a testament to the way they raised me, though, right? Like, I don't think that's necessarily, I mean, that's not like I just like happened to pop out and luckily I'm not a brat. I mean, every weekend my mom would have us like pack lunches and pass them out to the homeless, like really like getting us involved in the community and like knowing that there are people who have like circumstances that weren't the same way that ours were. So, yeah, I mean, I would not be the person I am today without my family, but also like the people who I look up to who I didn't know until I got up here. Yeah.
That's awesome. I was going to say that I have two boys. You're actually in between my two boys. Okay. And I'd be very proud if one of my boys was in. Unfortunately, my older is working for the man. I can't even get into it, but there.
But, and it's funny because, when you come from an Italian background, even whether it's prominent or not, there is this blue collar mindset that is kind of embedded in the culture. This, don't ever forget the guy who parks the car. Don't forget the guy who works behind the bar. Like, there is that mindset that no matter how successful you become, whether you're, living in, up in the hills or, wherever, that sometimes gets lost. I've been to LA quite a few times this past year, and it really is, it's obviously changed a lot over the years, but there is no question that the haves and the have-nots between the west side of the city and the south and east side of the city it's night and day. And that's a reflection of capitalism in a lot of ways. And
100%.
And that's the thing about the system collapsing on itself. When you get on the train, you have, I think the DC Metro is the best train I've ever ridden on in the US. And
pretty solid, huh?
It is.
Yeah.
And then we see these videos, and we saw that video that we actually did a clip on, where that numbnuts over at the Washington Post was bitching about, this train is not as good as it could. I'm like, what are you, crazy? Like, This is what you're complaining about? This is one of the few things in DC that they actually got right. Transportation in DC is actually really good. And this is the thing that you want to give grief about. You sure as hell are not going to see Bezos's publication talking about money and politics. And so have you been able, do you feel that you're navigating the city in an effective manner so far?
Yeah, I mean, the transportation's great. I have good friends. Hard to go on too many dates, but I've gone on some good dates. And I just, I try to stay as far removed from the political class as possible because I don't want to. And there are people within it who I spend time socializing with. Again, like off camera on the Hill, I'm like the nicest guy on the Hill. Like I specifically try to cultivate those relationships so that when I go to ask my question, it's not a one and done, right? So like when they're walking, like you said, you kind of have to play the game a little bit with these people. So like if people are looking for directions, I'm the first guy to tell you where to go. If people are walking with their dogs, I'm the first guy to pet the dog. I'm the first one to say hi to the baby. Like, all of the stuff that is not within the realm of politics, I am like good Samaritan, greatest guy on the Hill. And then when it gets into the political stuff, like we are like specifically this shoe leather grassroots organization that is fighting to get news to working people and fighting to talk about stories that are pertinent to their lives, that are not pertinent to the lives of the political elites. And we want them to know that their voices are represented up there. And so when the cameras are on, yeah, I'm going to come at your throat, because if you're working against the best interests of the American people, then I think we at Dropsite are going to have a problem with that. So that's kind of the way I look at it. But again, I mean, yeah, throughout the city, like, everybody is super nice. It's really odd to have people come up to me from Republican offices and from corporate Democrats offices and tell me, hey, by the way, I really love Dropsite, but I don't tell anyone, but I love Dropsite. These are people who work staffers in Republican offices and corporate Democrat offices. I mean, people are, there's something changing. People who are rank and file, people who are staffers in offices, who are working at agencies, whatever, in their own personal capacity, are starting to come around to these things politically. You just have to break up the machine and break up the institution, because again, not everybody has the luxury of doing what I did, which is to go and work a job that doesn't pay as much.
Yeah, that's another form of lending your privilege. And I will tell you, you know who one of the most powerful Republicans on the Hill is, that not a lot of people know, and that's Mike McCall in North Texas. And I met one of his, I'm not going to say who it is, but I met one of his main staffers, and it is incredible how much more reasonable so many of these people are. Like, I think you kind of have this understanding, this mindset similar to what I would be doing if I was there. You need to be connecting with people who are everyday people. The people that have their heads up in the clouds, you're not necessarily going to even want to break bread with them anyway. Thomas Massey is a special guy for many reasons. He's one of the most cordial and approachable people on the Hill, on top of being a great representative, but he is an anomaly. However, so many of these staffers that work for these representatives, yes, several of them are definitely trying to climb the ladder, but there's also several of them that are there that are trying to serve their country. And I think that that's very important, that, you're kind of creating this sort of central hub of sorts where people know that they can talk to Julian Andreone at Dropsite, even if they can't say where it came from, even if it has to be anonymous. They know you're one of the good people on the Hill that will protect identity, that is all about the story. And to me, that is exceptional journalism that you're doing. It should be lauded, and we're going to do everything we can to promote your work, not just because we like Ryan too, but because we know that what you're doing is right, and that's what matters.
I think everybody likes Ryan. That's another thing. I mean, I would have never, again, this is a job, and I really appreciate everything you said. It's very nice. And I've been stunned by the outpouring of support from people on the ground, from people within the progressive media sphere, from people within the right-wing media sphere. I mean, there are people who are populists on the right who are also finding value in this work. And you hear people like Tucker Carlson saying things about Dropsite News that are very positive, very nice. He's reading our work. And so, I mean, that's something that we do want to reach out. We want to get into these spaces that are not typically exposed to this type of honest reporting and show them what's actually going on in the world, so that they can reckon with the force that is American power and the force that is the organized moneyed interests up here in DC. But again, that was another part of the reason why I decided to join Dropsite, is that Ryan is, it's hard to explain to somebody, to people who are, I mean, you guys, I think, know him, but like, to people who are watching this, I mean, Ryan is somebody who is so solid. Like, he is somebody who will defend you at any turn. He's somebody who's 100% in your corner. And I think that I really appreciate being under his wing, because he's also honest with me. He'll tell me when I say things that don't make sense. He'll tell me when he thinks I can ask a question a better way. He gives me advice when I ask for it. And he's also helps me learn lessons from mistakes that I've made, of which there have been many. But he's also somebody who is cool enough to be able to go and grab a drink with, or to go and grab a coffee with, and just talk about life. He's got a bunch of kids. He's got a wife who recently came out of, or who recently was struggling with cancer and went into remission. I mean, he is like a titan of a person who has just done such incredible things. And like, I would have never. And he's also super principled and super intelligent. I mean, somebody who like clearly cares more about their principles than the opportunity that was out there at corporate media outlets, or perhaps in politics for him. Yeah, I mean, it's just what a lucky situation, seriously, which is why I promote them so much. I've got all my stuff. Nobody's forced me to put any of this stuff up here, but I want the organization to grow because it's impossible not to root for those guys.
Last question before you go. Obviously, we know what we're in the midst of right now. This is a very unique time. Everyone thinks they're living in a unique time in history, but we are living in a unique time in history. There's a reason our channel is called Revolutionary Change. It does feel like we're heading for some type of a revolution in this country. What would you say is the temperature right now on the Hill? Because when we were there with Doctors Against Genocide a couple of months ago, it was pretty clear to me that strategy is key because a lot of people want change. One of the biggest reasons I believe that the pro-Israel lobby gets away with what they get away with is because they send hundreds of people all day, every day, to knock on every single congressional door in the halls of Congress to get them in line to do what they have to do. But I feel like the masses are starting to figure a lot of this game out. Being in the heart of it all, how do you see things unfolding as we go forward? Do you feel that there is sort of a sense of an uprising amongst the working people of this country right now?
Well, I'll say one thing really quickly, which is that on the Israel lobby, they actually have an internship program, and I'm blanking on what it's called. I think it's directly through AIPAC, where they have and I think it's still going on, but I know that they at least used to have one that had 3 interns per office that they would send specifically to go and talk to those members of that office, staffers, the member themselves. So yes, it's a coordinated and organized assault on democracy, on accurate or actual democratic representation. They're trying to specifically woo these offices away from their constituents and towards the interests of the Israeli government. That's totally traitorous and should not be happening in a democracy, especially the one that considers itself the shining beacon of democracy. But with regard to the temperature and the climate, I think that on the Hill, it's totally different than what people on the ground are experiencing. And the best example of that is Graham Plattner. People on the ground in Maine love Graham Plattner. People know that he's fighting for actual change, and they know that Susan Collins is somebody who has been an institutionalist her whole life, has been aligned with the party establishment. And when it came time that the party establishment was taken over by an insurgent and a rebel in Trump, she kowtowed to Trump's interests as long as the economic interests continued to serve the elites and the wealthy, which is what Trump ushered in. He ushered in an economic agenda that specifically worked for corporations and his wealthy friends. And
no, excuse me, I totally got elected to serve the people, of the people, by the people, and for the people, and that's the way it is.
Well, whatever he says apparently becomes reality in this country, so I'll take you at your word. But I will say that, like, Susan Collins, once she realized that the economic status quo would stay intact, continued to do, and that the military-industrial complex would be able to continue to profit on wars abroad, and that he would continue to initiate those. Her husband is a defense lobbyist. That she would continue voting. That she would continue voting with him 95% of the time, which is what it's been. And Graham Plattner is somebody who in the establishment media or the corporate media is being smeared endlessly. The New York Times piece was written by somebody who was given, while she was at Northwestern, by the way, AIPAC Activist of the Year award. Her parents are Israeli settlers. They grew up in her family grew up in Kansas, and they moved to Haifa. So she's somebody who's entirely in the pocket of Israel. And then you wonder why New York Times assigned her to cover Zohran Mamdani's campaign and then Graham Plattner's campaign. Isn't that weird? That the 2 most popular anti-Israel voices that are resonating with working class people got assigned the journalist who was given AIPAC Activist of the Year in college and whose parents are Israeli settlers. Her dad works for the Israeli Technology Institute, I believe. She was assigned to work on this and then immediately comes out with a smear campaign sourced with the woman who started Women for Kavanaugh and essentially constructed. And by the way, Lindsay Fifield, she essentially constructed the argument. Her organization constructed the argument that Susan Collins delivered on the floor before voting for Brett Kavanaugh to be appointed. And then she said she'd like to volunteer for Susan Collins. This is the source, and this is the journalists who are putting out these smears against Graham Plattner. And people expect you, they call you a misogynist, a sexist, whatever, if you don't get on board with that smear campaign.
Right.
And it's endless smears from the establishment. They always lean into identity politics and smears to try to quell leftist and populist uprisings and revolutions, like you said. But when you start to talk to people on the ground, they're not fazed by it anymore because they've seen these tactics. They saw it with Bernie and Hillary in 2016. Yep. They saw it again with Bernie in the 2020 primaries, where they called him a sexist and a misogynist after the debate quabble with Elizabeth Warren. I mean, it just happens over and over again, right? It happens over and over and over again. And people on the ground are now finally starting to realize, even people who used to be Hillary people, like if you look at Jennifer Welch, she's becoming a huge voice on the left, and she used to be a Hillary supporter in 2016, and now she's saying, wait, I'm starting to realize what's going on here. I'm not in favor of the party establishment anymore. I'm not in favor of Chuck Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries and Nancy Pelosi. And so you're starting to see even people who are among this sort of rising voice of intellectuals and politicos and people who are able to talk about these issues with authority for, one reason or another, are starting to come around to like the populist instincts of the Democratic Party that are rooted in our history, in the labor movement, and with FDR. And so I think, yes, Peter, in short, what you said is exactly right, that people on the ground are sort of ironclad in wanting this populist revolution, and none of the establishment smear campaigns to this point have worked.
I think that we should expect that going forward more. People are sick and tired of it. Plus, we have what you always call the Streisand effect, Peter, like where, they're making an issue of him, but what it's doing is it's educating more people about him than it's turning people off to him. That's what ends up happening because, there's going to be a few blue hairs that get all their, knickers in a twist about whatever politically incorrect thing he said. And I have issues with some of his stuff too. I do. I'm not going to say I don't. I'm, but at the end of the day, that's the menu. So people need to get behind it and get with the menu. And when I see people going against him, then I know that he's being effective.
By the way, like I don't think anybody should come after people for having issues with things that Graham has said. I think a lot of them are quite offensive, but he's a new generation of candidate who grew up in the age of the internet, and he was intensely troubled. He had PTSD. This is not just somebody who served in the military. He was a machine gunner. He was standing on the front line, shooting people down, saw people die, was literally taking lives.
He killed people.
He killed people for the American government and came back and realized it was all a lie. Think about what that does to your brain. I mean, he's somebody who really struggled and had a redemption arc to the point where he's even able to run for the Senate before the age of 40. I mean, this is somebody who is a perfect example of the type of person that the Democratic Party is going to need to start to embrace and drop the culture crusading, drop the cancel culture, and just say, look, if people want to stand for our values, which is standing up for organized labor, standing up for the welfare state, trying to get people Medicare for all and a higher minimum wage, a basic standard of dignified living, then we're going to have to embrace people who have struggled with those exact things. And those types of people are, especially if they were growing up in the age of the internet, are going to have baggage. There is no perfect person besides a sociopath who crafted their life to get into politics. And so, yes, all of these people are going to have things that when you look up their name are going to come up. And are you willing to swallow those things and say, you know what, we want actual change, even if the agents of that change are imperfect? If you're willing to take that pill, then yes, you may get actual change in your life. But if you want a purity test until the day ends, then go ahead. But the fascists are going to keep getting elected because the Republicans fight harder.
Yes, exactly. That's what we always say. And I'll always preface things like that. Like we were just talking about a Florida race where I'll say, I'm not swearing and singing praises for any of these people. But at the end of the day, you're getting one of them, right? So this is about strategy and being able to work with people that are reasonable versus people that are corporate bought. So it doesn't really matter if you like them personally. And this is a Democrat thing more than anything. Democrats get all in their feels. They care about how it feels. They care about their feelings. It's so frustrating. And that's the kind of people that get all upset about the Graham stuff in a way where they would not vote for him. Like, again, there's some of the stuff that bothers me. It's not so much the military service as the private contractor service. I have a lot of concerns about that. I don't like it. But that being said, I would still support him because he's not a corporate whore and he's seemingly more reasonable. So that's just practical to me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I mean, I think if you're not taking the corporate donations, then at least you're a good actor. I mean, there are tons of things I disagree with disagree on with Thomas Massey. I talk to him every day, but I talk to him every day, and it's because I know he's operating in good faith. He said to me today, he goes, "You're limited to 3 interviews a day with me," and he was joking, of course, but it's because I always love to go and talk to him, even if we don't post it. A ton of the interviews we get, we don't post, but it's fascinating to me to pick his brain because he's somebody who's so ideologically different from people in our sphere, but he's somebody who totally understands that the house is on fire. And until the fire that is enveloping this house, which is our country, is put out by taking the corporate money out of the politics and returning to an actual representative form of democracy where people on the ideological left and the ideological right can debate issues and corporatism is not a part of it at all, then there is no other issue, right? Because every other issue is being bought up by the corporate interests that have monopolized the entire political discourse since the neoliberal order started, since the 24-hour news cycle started. So it is an all hands on deck type of effort, and the purity testing is one of the biggest threats to the political coalition that's actually going to save this country from going all the way into autocracy.
Which is
intentionally.
Yeah, which Jen just said, which is why, especially because you come from where I think you come from. When you are in a position in life where you're already comfortable or your life is predicated on being comfortable by not doing the right thing, that's when you know when people start talking a certain way. That's why when Neera Tanden and Joan Walsh come out of the woodworks to go after Plattner, that's when you know that there is a career element that is involved here when it comes to whether it is attacking Plattner, whether it is attacking Massey, because anyone, even though he can never be president, but he's the best, he would be the best shot the Democrats could ever have. You know, the reason why Mamdani is getting the business that he's getting is because these guys are principled. And when you're principled in a very unprincipled political and economic arena that we're living in today, it's like reading Orwell. Like, it really is. Like, you know, telling the truth is a revolutionary act. And right now it feels that way. And whether you believe it or not, your truth telling on the Hill is potentially having revolutionary implications. I'm not saying there aren't other people that are there that are doing this job, but you are doing it from a place that FDR and Teddy Roosevelt once did it from, which is they are lending their privilege. They are a traitor to their respective class. And that's okay, because that's typically how it has to happen. And with what you're doing, it should absolutely be lauded. If you guys are not currently subscribed to Dropsite News or to Julian's work on social media, obviously X is the easiest place to find them. But final thoughts before you go, anything you want to plug, the floor is yours.
Yeah, that's really humbling, and I appreciate it. FDR is an idol, and Eugene Debs, and Teddy Roosevelt. I mean, all of these guys, I mean, are just these titans, and I think, and I'm humbled, and I appreciate all of that praise. I think with regard to following along, I think Dropsite, it's free to subscribe, so please do that. All you have to do is type your email in. You get a daily newsletter. I write the US section of that newsletter with help from Ryan and Nausicaa, who's our editor-in-chief, incredible editor. That's a big part of this too, by the way. If you want to do good journalism, you have to have an editor who's not going to water you down, and she is a knife fighter, man. You got to love Nausicaa. So she came from The Intercept with Ryan and Jeremy as well, and founded Dropsite with them. And so, absolutely go subscribe to everything Dropsite, YouTube, Substack, everything. And then my social medias, as he said, my Twitter is just my full name, Julian Andreone, and my Instagram is the Julian Andreone because the prior username was taken. So that's where all my work is. And also, by the way, all of my messages and my email is julian@dropsitenews.com. And always open. I respond to as many as I possibly can because, again, the way I see my work is just taking the questions that people have and going to ask them up on the Hill. I really see myself as more of a middleman. And so if you have questions that you want to write into me, of course, there will be a process of looking at them and seeing if it'll be engaging for a big group of people. But I really do take questions that are written into me and take them up to the Hill. So whether that's via Twitter, Instagram, or in the direct messages or the email, I read all of those. So please do send them.
I will very likely be on the Hill, or at least in the DC area, for the 4th. I'm sure you will be covering plenty, including that very interesting event that will be taking place on the National Mall. Lord knows it's going to be a completely insane, hilarious experience. But thank you for what you do. And if I am in town, hopefully we can meet in person. And
yeah,
and obviously, thank you so much.
Thank you both. And feel free to text me. I think you guys have my contacts, but if not, feel free to text me anytime. Yeah.
Thank you. All of Julian's stuff's in our description, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks, brother.
Thank you.
Bye, guys.
And I've always liked Ryan. Ryan's always been very good to me.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? And we'll get, sometimes there'll be valid criticism, and I get it. And we've talked about it with him before, but somebody like Ryan has to have access. So if somebody like Ryan was going to just go all rogue, then he's no longer going to get access. So then that doesn't really help. But Ryan is solid. He is. That's how I would describe him too. And he was always very good to me.
Yeah,
he gave me, I have his number. He's very nice. He's very receptive. Yeah.
I would even send him a message, just, letting him know that you really picked a winner with Julian. Like he's a great young man, and he clearly, listen, we didn't even bother to ask him specifically, but if it turned out he was from Calabasas, that wouldn't surprise me in the least. And so he really, kudos to his parents. There are people who really do care, that even if they've won at capitalism, they understand that this system's broken. Like it is. Yeah. So kudos to them. And I'm sure you saw a lot of Reese when you were talking to Julian.
I mean, look, unfortunately, my boy is working for the man. It's what it is. I still have hope for number 2. I got child number 2, still trying to figure it out. So we might be able to get him to not be working for the man.
Here's hoping so. Talk about somebody who is not the man. In fact, he's a low down, dirty dog. And the thing I really wanted to point out about what happened at Madison Square Garden last night. I've been a basketball fan for many years. I don't have, I'm kind of indifferent about the Knicks. Obviously, they're very likely going to win the championship now. They haven't won it in 53 years. It's like the New York Rangers in 94 all over again. That was 54 years that they hadn't won a title. Jen, of course, you're a San Antonio Spurs fan, so this is not the best time, but you've had 5 championship rings, so you don't really have to worry too much.
And we deserved every single one of them.
Yeah, you did. You did. Maybe not 07, but that's another story for another day. Point is, the thing about watching the game last night, for anybody who, and Josie is way ahead, that's why we have good people here. It wasn't a few of them.
No.
They were all over. All over. And of course, they're always the closest. And the 2 people that I just want to point out, the Haim sisters that were sitting with Taylor Swift, look into their background and their Israeli father and why they were sitting courtside. But that's not all. There's more. Jerry Seinfeld was one of several.
I can't believe we're still talking about him.
Why don't we have to talk about Jerry Seinfeld? I think it's very important. And there were Ben Stiller, Adam Sandler. They were everywhere, all over the place. But nobody is worse than Mr. Seinfeld. And so
this might be a hit list thing. I'm just letting you know.
Let's start this with people who obviously saw what he did after the game when he was confronted outside. Well, I wouldn't even say confronted. A guy approached him when he was leaving the VIP section of Madison Square Garden and was asked a question. I think you all remember when we covered this from about, we'll say.
Oh, are you playing that again? You're playing the old one?
Gary, can I get a selfie? Sure. Free Palestine!
I don't care about Palestine.
That's sad.
He says
no, it's not sad. It's psychotic.
Well, here's the thing. He says he doesn't care about Palestine.
But he references Palestine.
He's acknowledging Palestine. This is last night, right after the game.
Oh, Jerry. What up, Seinfeld? What up? Can we get a free Palestine? Can we get a free Palestine? Come on, give us one free Palestine.
It doesn't exist.
I can't.
You could tell how much that hurt that guy. I don't even know.
I just can't.
The content creator, but
here's
what I want to say, which I don't want to have been lost on people. Listen to Jerry one more time.
Get a free Palestine? Can we get a free Palestine? Come on, give us one free Palestine.
It doesn't exist.
He is not referring to Palestine that it doesn't exist because of his Zionist Jewish beliefs. He's referring to Palestine doesn't exist because we blew it to smithereens.
No.
That's what he
I think
means.
the former. No, I don't think so. I think he meant and look, I by no means am saying anything in defense of this piece of shit. But I do think he is still going with that original Zio trope that there's no such thing as Palestine. That's how it sounded to me more than what you were saying, possibly.
I don't agree. And the reason why is because this is not just any rich pro-Israel supporter. This is a guy who went to Zio camp, who went to IDF camp. Like, he's that guy. He has bloodlust. And first of all, because he's an emasculated man, he's also potentially part of, I don't know how prominently, if at all, he was featured in the Epstein files, but Colin.
Thank you, JMG.
Well, that's your opinion, but
that's all that matters. It's my opinion.
Well, that's just like your opinion, man. Okay, so here's an interesting email from Jeffrey Epstein with one of his cohorts saying also, Jerry and Jessica Seinfeld are going to be sailing around St. Thomas on the 26th, 27th. Can I organize for them to come to the island for lemonade? Okay, so now the question is, what is the key word lemonade here? What does that mean?
It's clearly not lemonade. Okay, nobody specifically would ask that. That's silly. We all know that, right? I mean, you'd say, hey, could we come by? Maybe we'd grab some drinks. You would say that. You wouldn't reference a lemonade unless it's a code for something.
Has to be.
And so I think, and look, we know that Jerry has a penchant for very young girls in a very gross way. And this is something that his wife, she has to live with that. Because she probably knows that her husband is interested in teenage girls.
Do you really think that he hasn't? Do you really think that he has? I mean, again, it was so provocative on his part. I mean, he was 39 and she was 16 going on 17. This was illegal.
Again, the legality is a side point because in some states it might not be, right? Like, so we're going to just put the legality off to the side and just look at gross.
Yes.
And then, of course, you bring it back full circle with, well, what is something that a bunch of people that support Ziohel have in common?
They like them really young.
They like them really young. And that it's like the common thread of all of these Zio supporting men is they like really young girls. It's gross.
I also want to point out, and this is from More Perfect Union, which obviously does great work. Madison Square Garden has paid zero in property taxes for over 40 years. This is billions upon billions of dollars that gets sucked out of a part of New York City that you want to talk about a part of New York that could definitely use the financial help. If you have ever been around Madison Square Garden on 7th Avenue and 33rd Street, like that section around there, that's one of the most run down parts of Manhattan if you're not going all the way up to Harlem and the Bronx. Like this is sleazy, decrepit, old, run down part of New York. And yet,
where Madison Square Garden is?
So yeah, there's plenty of streets surrounding that area. I'm not
okay.
talking.
I mean, you're talking about just Penn Station.
Well, but again, I'm talking about that perimeter. There's several blocks around there that are very dilapidated. Like that's like one of the few parts of New York that hasn't been gentrified out of just complete totality.
Noah, we're not talking about younger. We're talking about fetus.
Well, no, don't say fetus. It's silly. But anyway.
These women are too young to be going out with a grown-ass old man.
Well, that's true,
what
too.
they are. It's
That's
disgusting.
True. It's like when Donald Sterling was dating that young Asian escort or whatever it was. Anyway, Madison Square Garden has paid zero property tax in 40 years. MSG is exempt from all property taxes. Its owner is also a billionaire Trump donor. So what's happening?
Yeah, this guy.
James Dolan, Nepo baby, in case you didn't know. His father, Charles Dolan, and again, this hurts me because this is an Irish family. Charles Dolan was the creator of Cablevision, also known as he is the creator of cable, essentially. And so what's happening? Tickets to the NBA Finals are exorbitantly expensive. The get-in price is about $4,000, with seats listed up to $100,000. James Dolan, the billionaire owner of the Knicks and CEO of Madison Square Garden, is making millions of dollars on fans desperate to see their beloved team win. Each NBA Finals game hosted at MSG is estimated to earn $20 million in revenue for the Knicks, and Dolan's personal net worth has already increased by $450 million in the first 6 months of the year. Gotta love that capitalism, guys. James Dolan is also paying zero in property taxes on MSG. In 1982, the New York State Legislature exempted MSG from ever having to pay property taxes. According to MSG's financial documents, that exemption is worth $42.4 million, I believe that's annually, at least at the time. Over the course of 44 years, New York City has lost out on an estimated $947 million in tax revenue on the biggest entertainment venue in Manhattan. Dolan donated $300,000 to Trump's 2016 campaign and $125,000 in 2020. He allowed Trump to host a rally at MSG in 24 and had his wedding at Mar-a-Lago. That's funny. On Monday, Dolan infamously personally invited President Trump to sit in his box. Trump's visit to MSG is expected to have cost taxpayers over $100,000. His 5-hour trip to the Super Bowl costs $120,000. So we can. Pedophiles and private equity have ruined America, and more importantly, the New York Knicks home court advantage. And it's true. So this is the whole thing about capitalism. Shit. Still trying to shake this thing. But this is, again, an example of why the elites get to do what they do. They make a complete mockery of us, and then at the same time, they get away with genocide. And that's why people like Jerry Seinfeld and a slew of others are the ones that James Dolan has sitting courtside. By the way, James, you're a complete traitor to the Irish people. We don't claim you. We don't want you. You can go to hell, and you're a Nepo baby on top of everything else. You didn't earn shit. You just... Do you know that he has a band that he basically makes MSG employees go and watch live? His own band. Like it is expected of MSG employees to watch him perform, and he pays to be opening acts for major musical acts. That's what he does. That's what all these billionaires are doing. That's what they're all doing. They're all just spending all their money to make themselves feel relevant. That's what they all do. They're all running around just so desperately compensating and trying to feel relevant. Look at what I own. Look at this team. Look at my yacht. Look at my airplane. Oh, I have an island. Like,
these are very. Do I need to?
I was just well. You know what I was thinking. Well, of course, it has to be this. I mean, what else could? Well, I was actually going with small dick energy, but yes, this.
That's a whole other thing. But I mean, when we're so, guys, the new Oligarch Chronicles: Tales of Emasculated Men Vying to Destroy the World, and these are some of the smallest men. But basically, all they do is try to show everybody how cool they are. That's their whole existence. Hence, small.
Absolutely. But we would be amiss not to end on a positive note. And the reason I say that is because basketball is the sport that I played. I have a very good friend that I've known for many years who is a long-suffering Knicks fan. And it does look like the New York Knicks are going to win their first title in half a century. And I would say that is, for the working class Knicks fan, of which there are millions, I'm happy for them. Because there was a part of me that wanted the Spurs to win because I don't want people like Jerry Seinfeld any satisfaction in life because they don't deserve it. However, there are a lot of Knicks fans out there who do deserve it. They deserve this moment. I believe they are going to finish this series. San Antonio's time is coming once again because Wemby is an all-world, all-time player already. But in the meantime, this is the Knicks moment. And for a lot of Knicks fans, just after the game, they were having a lot of things, they were celebrating and having a good time. But somebody in Times Square decided to give them a hard time. And you'll never guess.
Thank you, Ozma. Thank you. Agreed. Is it Coach Pop?
Oh, no.
I've seen him. I remember when I lived in San Antonio and I would see him at the Central Market.
This is even more hilarious, if you can believe it. I'm not going to say who it is. Maybe you'll pick up on it.
Hey, wait, guys, why are you running away? What'd you say?
Yo, it's you! Fuck you, bro! Yo,
free Palestine! Free Palestine! That's what I say. I say free Palestine. That's what I say.
Free Palestine! Yo, look, it's the rabbi!
Free Palestine. That's exactly what I say.
Oh, no, not him.
Look at you fucking clown! Look at you! You really thought you was gonna do something, you fucking clown! Look at you! That's the kind that's the type. Yeah, I am. Yeah, fuck you. You're a fucking children, and y'all are killing children, and y'all are killing little bitch. Fuck you! Fuck you, you fucking clown! Go do something, you fucking bitch! Fuck you, you fucking clown! Fuck you, you fucking bitch, yeah. I ain't no Jewish person. Fuck Jewish people. You's a bitch, though. Yeah, you's a bitch, though.
I'm getting really tired of these guys feeling like they have to explain themselves that, no, I don't hate Jews. Who gives a fuck what they say?
And I was thinking, and I was feeling really happy that there are so many different ages and ethnicities of people that are now understanding this. Because these guys are just young guys, sports dudes, whatever. They don't look like they're particularly invested in evangelical Christian, Zio or Judaism. So these are just regular sports guys, and they know who Shmuley is enough to hate him. So that's a good sign.
I agree.
Forget the fact that they just said, "Oh, we don't hate Jews." Yeah.
You're right.
Use a bitch, though. Yeah, use a bitch,
you
though.
You walked over to Palestine. Yeah, you're a bitch, though. Don't lie.
I'm allowed to say whatever the fuck I want.
It's a free country.
I'm allowed to say whatever the fuck I want.
Free Palestine.
I'm allowed to say whatever the fuck I want.
Oh, my God. Jen, so get a load of this.
God,
this is Shmuley's son. That's Shmuley's son. Guess he's trying to audition for ZZ Top. That's my guess.
Free Palestine. Hey, free Palestine.
Free Palestine. When you sit on the fucking
king over, harass my son.
You're a fat pig. You're a fat pig. You're a fat pig. You're a dirty bitch. Fat pig, dirty bitch. Fat pig, dirty bitch.
What's that promise to you is why you can film me.
You're a dirty bitch.
Look at how he's dressed.
Oh my God. He looks like the Gringotts guys from you guys, the Harry Potter, the guys, the banker dudes. Am I hallucinating, guys? Does he not look like the Gringotts? Somebody tell me if I'm right on that. I mean, I was never like a big Harry Potter fan, but I do remember the bankers at Gringotts, and I think.
And for anybody here who is a fan of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, he looks like when Danny DeVito is playing the Troll Toll in the the Nightman Cometh play that they did. I mean, he really does look like that guy. And he's creepy in the worst lechy way possible. Like it looks like he's gonna melt. Like he's a goblin and he's just gonna melt.
That's what I'm saying. That's what the goblins, the Gringott guys are goblins. That's what they are. They're goblins. I'm telling you.
We'll finish it up.
Listen to their words. Smoking weed. Yeah. You walked out right here. Smoke weed that killed children. Get your hands off of me. Get your hands off of me. Get your hands off of me. Do you hear what I said?
Nobody wants to touch you, Shmuley.
Nobody.
Nobody wants to touch. Like that's why
it's. This is no different than Anna Paulina Luna and Medea. What did he do? But here's the thing, Jen. How effing close has Shmuley been trying to get with them with his phone? Like he's invading their space.
He does that every time. He's like the guy that runs into the side of a car and then claims he got hit by a car.
Officer, I feel threatened. You brushed your arm against him. Don't you touch me. I'm surprised that Shmuley is still out in public. I mean, that's kind of ridiculous. All right, let's finish it.
Get your hands off of me. Get your hands off of me.
Shut up, nigga.
Get your hands off.
My hands are right here.
My
hands are right here. My hands are a fat bitch. You're a fat bitch. Go kill children. Go run, bro. Run them off. Run them off. Because you have a young McCall.
This is what it means to be a Jew today. You walk up.
There are some
We can just scream whatever you want.
Speak to the day that I'm dead in the grave, bro.
Can you walk up to any Jewish person and scream free Palestine?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That's how I will. Palestine. Stolen land. Free Palestine. Fuck y'all boys. What? What? Yeah.
I think we get the point. Henry, I am not a huge Harry Potter fan. I only saw the first movie. However, I have two boys that read the whole series and watched all the movies. So it has been it's been around. But no, I only read the first book and I only saw the first movie. And they were good. But then I was done. I'm not one of those people that needs to keep seeing the same thing over and over again.
Yeah. And then again, this is the point. Do not give them the satisfaction of trying to explain it. It doesn't matter. They're not looking for a reason to agree with you. They're looking for anything to trip you up. That's it.
Yeah.
Seinfeld is how he is. Shmuley is how he is.
Are we going to get into Gwynocide, or are we not going to talk about?
We're going to get into the worst bimbo of them all in a minute. But this is a reflection of the way things are with, and again, so much of this is all predicated on liberal Zionism, because that's where it stems from. But
liberal Zionism.
That's
not a thing. I reject that.
Well, don't tell me that you reject that, Jen.
I do. I reject that like I reject Jews for Jesus, or Around Square.
How about Buddhism?
What?
Senator from Reverend Moon.
Oh.
How about Scientology?
Well, I don't, I'm not an organized
get the reference
in general, but no, I don't.
Airplane.
What stupid movie?
Airplane.
I don't remember that. What scene are you talking?
Snack is walking into the airport.
In the very beginning.
When they're all like trying to solicit him. Remember they used to have that?
Oh, yeah. But you're talking about the Hare Krishnas.
Yes.
Okay.
They're not the only ones, but there was like a bunch of them.
Yeah. Yeah. They don't let them dress like that. You know that this is what happened with the Hare Krishnas. Side note. So they stopped allowing religious solicitors to be at the airports. And so what they would do is the Hare Krishnas would stop dressing in their garb and they would just look like regular people, but they were still giving out their crap. Yeah, that's what happened. No, airplane is not stupid. You are correct. I was not sure he was right. Most of the time, he's referencing something like South Park or Ace Ventura or some other stupid shit that I've never seen. This is, in fact, something stupid that is quite good that I have seen. I can't hear Staying Alive without picturing, yeah, like, I can't.
Surely you can't be serious.
Yes, I'm serious. Don't call me Shirley.
And listen, the very first time you see remember, Leslie Nielsen was a classically trained stage actor, very serious actor.
Yeah.
And he gets cast in this movie. And the first time you see him is Julie Haggerty saying, "Excuse me, are you a doctor?" He's sitting there with the stethoscope in his ears. I'm like, oh my God. Like, you don't notice that maybe on first viewing, but then eventually, you know, the exchange with Graves. How soon can you land? I can't say. You could tell me I'm a doctor. Well, no, I'm just not sure. Well, can't you take a guess? Well, at least not for another 2 hours. You can't take a guess for another 2 hours. I mean, no one knows how to write or do that shit anymore. And it's a shame. It really is. Speaking of somebody who is way past their prime as an actor, and I wouldn't even consider a good one. You know, I would say the best role that Paltrow ever had as an actress was in a small role. She had two of them. She had a small role in Seven with her significant other, Brad Pitt, at the time.
That wasn't really her thing, though. She was barely in
No,
that.
it wasn't, because she's never been a good lead. And then the other role was as another side character in The Talented Mr. Ripley, which was one of Matt Damon's best performances.
I love how you say that like it's just a fact. So I actually very much loved a movie that she did called Sliding Doors, where she is in fact the main character. And this is regardless of her or not her. It is actually a really good movie. The premise of the movie is really cool. But no, I've never liked her. I didn't think that she should have won for Shakespeare in Love. I didn't think that was as much of a big deal as everyone was making it. That was one of those award seasons of the Nepo baby.
Yeah, and that Shakespeare in Love won over Saving Private Ryan, which is just
insane. Yeah.
Insane.
Yeah. And I liked Shakespeare in Love. It was okay, but it wasn't all of that what they were doing. Like when she won for that, I felt it was a little bit kind of
Gwyneth Paltrow or Gwenocide Paltrow.
Oh, Gwynny. I saw a really good comedian that said, Gwynny, just you should have stuck with the vagina candles. Just stick with your vagina candles, Gwynny.
So Gwyneth Paltrow has always been, when you talk about the privileged liberal, she has always been the very worst of the worst. This is a person who flaunts her wealth, of which she is worth hundreds of millions of dollars, and lives an exceptionally high-end life. And she thinks that she's a guru for women of her class and perhaps other women that want to be in her class. She's a very bored person, but she's also an exceptionally large Zio. Like a massive Zio. I don't have the clip because I haven't been able to find it, but Gwyneth Paltrow makes videos with Noah Tishby. Like that's the type of person we're talking about here. This is another Deborah Messing.
Does that surprise you? I mean,
no. It's another Deborah Messing type situation. And you would think, again, we've been talking about this for a while, and that's why I'm happy that there were people that confronted Seinfeld and others at the game, because they shouldn't have a moment's peace. People like Jerry Seinfeld should never have a moment's peace when he's out in public.
No.
And Gwyneth Paltrow is another one. This is not a fake ad. This is real, even though it wasn't filmed where they're claiming it was filmed. This is another, Jennifer Lopez claiming that she was filming a Fiat commercial driving through the streets of the Bronx, and of course she wasn't. That was a lie, and I do think that was one of the things that derailed her career. And this is another example of a person who claims that, oh, I totally went to Tel Aviv and filmed this. Turns out she didn't. She was just doing it in New York. So
Yes.
thanks. Great job.
Nice truth in advertising.
This is a real ad, ladies and gentlemen. I kid you not.
Oh, not again. Who decided morning should be so early? Even my coffee needs a coffee. Waking up for a morning run can be brutal, but it's a price I'm willing to pay.
So when people talk about their dislike of white women, this is an example of one where I would say, yes, you're absolutely correct. And that was very worthy of a hit.
Because once I hit the park, pure energy takes over. It's hard to explain. There's a reason the world's most iconic buildings are by a park. 51 Park.
New York?
Herzliya. Israel.
51 פארק, שני מגדלי יוקרה בני 51 קומות, צמוד לפארק הרצליה. עכשיו בתנאי השקה, כוכבית 3566.
Gwyneth, have you even been to Herzliya? Have you been? I've been to Herzliya. I have. It's lovely. It's a very beautiful resort, beachy town. It's very lovely. But this was filmed in New York. And I think we need to talk about something aside from the Palestine genocide issue, which is the obvious tone deafness and just absolutely the most elitist, classist thing that she could do. But that's kind of what I wanted to mention. Like, we need to talk more about the class issue with this than it's getting talked about. And again, I'm not saying that the tone deafness regarding a genocide in Gaza isn't, obvious. But the fact that, and Rachel and I were talking about this morning, the fact that she's like, oh, it's so hard for me to get up and go for a run. That kind of shit. That's the stuff. That's the stuff that people are going to start setting stuff on fire about. Because and again, it has nothing to do with that location. That condo could be anywhere. That ad could be for anything. I like the fact that she's doing it for a genocidal entity because now it's getting a lot of information and she's getting the shit that she deserves. But if it weren't for that entity, she wouldn't be getting as much shit. And she should be.
Correct.
Because this is some Paris Hilton sliving kind of bullshit in the middle of a genocide, Gwyneth. Because it is New York City, fifthly. They didn't film it in Herzliya. And when I was watching that, and you're watching her jog over the bridge, and I thought to myself, that looks like Central Park. And yet she's promoting a condo in Ziohel. So, Gwyneth, I hope that, and again, this is someone who is so wealthy and is so positioned in a good place that it really won't matter one way or the other. But she should never get a moment's peace in public. And nobody should ever go to see anything that she's involved with or support any of her ridiculous stuff. And by the way, Gwyneth, Goop is a stupid ass name for a product. Nobody wants, or a thing. That is stupid. I've always thought that was stupid. The name of her big company is Goop. Goop. It's a Goop. It's like a lifestyle brand or whatever.
Let's just call it Duck while you're at it. So
I always thought that was so stupid. And you would have to be such a pretentious cunt to name something Goop and know that it'll still be really successful.
Well, she has that reputation. The starting price.
She should go back to the vagina candles. That's what I was saying before. Fine. Maybe there's a market for vagina candles. Okay, that's great. Gwynny, go back to vagina candles.
The starting price for a property in 51 Park in Tel Aviv, starting price, $10 million.
In Tel
That's
Aviv, you said?
That's the starting price.
Oh, she said Herzliya.
Well, wherever that, I thought it was Tel Aviv for some reason.
She said it was Herzliya, which is what I said. That's what she said. Herzliya.
Okay, so Herzliya, Israel.
And she's never freaking probably been there.
Who knows?
Yes, I know vagina candles are stupid. I'm just saying that suits her better than anything else. Stupid is as stupid does.
$10 million to start is the type of property that she's selling, which again, when people talk about what an elitist Zionist she is, the one thing we know, the one thing we've all experienced together as we've covered this over the last 2.5 years, they are elitist, they are classist, and they don't hide it. They're very proud of their prominence. Like they thrive on it. That's why so many of them, including Howard fucking Lutnick, showed up at Madison Square Garden for the NBA.
I thought we agreed we were going to call him Nutlick. Was I wrong on that?
Yeah, well, Nutlick showed up just like, hey, why didn't lucky Larry Silverstein just go for the full Monty and show up? They all should have been there. This is unfortunately what we're dealing with. And when they say you're making it into a Jew problem, no, they're making it into a Jew problem because it's the only way they can survive. They cannot survive unless they marry Judaism and Zionism into one, because Zionism on its own is kind of dead in its tracks in many ways.
Travers, may I recommend a headlamp for you? Or potentially, hey, I've got one that's like a neck thing that comes around so you could have handless lighting. Yeah. I'm gonna go with most women don't necessarily want a candle around their lady parts. I'm just gonna throw that out there. And I'm sure there's some that's their ish.
You know, I saw people in the chat mentioning the fact that Paltrow looks German. And yes, she does have, I believe she's got German extraction. But speaking of Germany, it is one of those countries that, like parts of Canada, different parts that are considered the West, you are seeing exactly why this is such a big problem. But also because there is a deliberate code of silence amongst the elites to not talk about this, to not address it. And this is an example of what needs to be done in order for people to see exactly the depths of the depravity of this ideology, of which Gwyneth Paltrow proudly represents.
Уходи, за собой закрой. Сколько бы я не просил, но ты же знала, что меня теряла. Я босиком по стеклам бегал так упрямо. И если бы не твой милый голосок, я бы упал, сделав последний вздох. И звезды мирно падали, как будто до меня. Я каждый раз загадывал тебя не потерять, но больше.
You think that hurts? I got one even better for you. This one's for you, Gwyneth. This is new footage of the 7-month-old that was shot.
I'm surprised that's not a crime too, David Hunter. I'm surprised they're letting that be there. Yeah.
Well, who knows? Maybe it was taken away. But
Germany's horrible with that stuff. Germany's been horrible.
You know that 7-month-old that we covered?
You're not. Wait. We're not going in that now, are we?
Oh, I just want to. You need to see this.
I've seen.
Oh, you've seen it? Hey, Gwyneth.
No, go ahead.
I hope you see it, Gwyneth. I hope you are reminded of exactly. You have no humanity. You have no humanity, and all the money in the world. You know, again, religion, especially the teachings of Christ, teach you that people like Gwyneth Paltrow are the people who are not getting anywhere in the afterlife. They're not. And this is another example of that. There is no audio. You shot that kid. You shot that toddler. And we're living in a country where they think that this is defensible. If this happened one time with any other country, this would be an international incident that would never not be not talked about. And yet, this has happened tens of thousands of fucking times. Tens of thousands of times.
This is wait. But this is West Bank, right?
Mm-hmm.
People
Hamas, I thought Hamas was there. This man is having an out-of-body shock experience holding his infant. His infant is dead in his arms because of this fuck. This fuck right here with that fucking gun. Because they're so fucking tough. They're so tough. By the way, I like how there are people who are coming into these chats now saying that I've never been in a fight before. Hey, man, think whatever the fuck you want. Think whatever you want.
I have.
That's a murderer. That is a person who should be hung in the public square.
But honestly, the problem with that is that there are not enough nooses. Is it nooses or niece? But there's not enough of them. There's not enough noose for the amount of people that really are. I mean, this is an entire psychopathic society. It's not, yes, that one guy and that one kid, but every kid was killed by one guy. So,
correct.
You see what I'm saying?
We recoil at this, and we ask ourselves, why do people put up? There is this inherent danger of losing our humanity, and that's why I agree with you. The problem is that while Paltrow represents the Marie Antoinette class, the Israel connection is what is driving people to say, we're going to Marie Antoinette you if we ever catch you in public. That's the difference. If this wasn't about Israel and just about elitism in life, too many people are way too caught up still in this idea that they're going to succeed at capitalism. But because Israel has provided that lightning rod where people are actually becoming revolutionary minded, is why when you think about the things that will transpire as we go forward, that ad of Paltrow will be reflective of the justice that must come for people like that innocent child and everyone else that we continue to cover. We have said it before, we will say it again. The danger, the inherent danger of liberal Zionism cannot be overstated when things like what happened.
I don't know. There's a few that have. You've got that adorable, what's her name? Hannah Einbinder.
Hannah Einbinder. That's what's her name's daughter. From the original cast of SNL.
I told you that. Yeah. From what's her mother's name? Lorraine Newman. Lorraine Newman's daughter is Hannah Einbinder. But you're right. There have been a couple, and I'm drawing a blank right now. There have been a couple of Jewish celebrities that have been on the right side of this.
Not enough.
Not enough. But I mean,
forget it. It's not even a consensus. It's not even a small minority. It's pathetic.
I know.
Michael Douglas, open your fucking mouth. Larry David, you love Palestinian chicken is considered the #1 episode in the history of Curb Your Enthusiasm. And that is an episode that everybody talks about. And Larry did a fantastic.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Well, yeah, you've got,
Deborah Winger.
There's that. I mean, there's celebrities, but just not enough Jewish
John
people.
Cusack is Irish Catholic. Like there's not It's not the same.
Wishful thinking.
It's just not. And you need people within the community to be a traitor to that community. Heck, even somebody like fucking George Clooney, even though he's Irish Catholic, like he could say something and he doesn't.
But none of them do. I know. I would be curious to know the percentage of the people that don't say because they're scared versus don't say because they like it, you know? Because I would say it's probably 50-50.
The one prominent actor who is Jewish that I can say has definitively denounced Israel is Mandy Patinkin. He is the one person that I can say that has
Mandy
actually been he's been very vocal about it.
Which is pretty good for the total lib that he is.
Yeah. And he is a total lib, 100%. He's a pro-Democratic Party guy. He's always been featured, but he's been very adamant about separating Judaism from Zionism, and that is to his credit. That is very much to his credit, and he is a great actor. So I would not, if Inigo Montoya says you are going to do this or prepare to die, it is inconceivable. And Wally Shawn, who is also Jewish, has been very outspoken as well.
Yes, he has. Correct. And guys, Katie Halper did a great interview with Wallace Shawn. It was a while ago. It was a long time ago, but it's been since October 7th, and he has been outspoken on that.
Yes, very much. Here's somebody who unfortunately pretends to be outspoken, but when push comes to shove, he reverts back to his liberal Zionism, and that's why we're trapped. And yes, Joaquin Phoenix would be the biggest one of them all right now.
Excuse me! We're having a conversation here. Get ready.
Israel needs to be stopped!
Get her out.
How dare you continue to support Israel when they keep killing Palestinians?
Thank you for attending. We're going to get to this issue.
Shame on you, Bernie, for not speaking up for the Palestinian people!
Sir, can we get security, please?
Why don't you just stop the defensive aim?
We need
Israel
security.
doesn't need defensive systems. They're a genocide.
That guy's scary with that flag. Bernie.
Hey, cool. Senator Sanders.
How do you like the United States to handle its relationship with Iran and its relationship with Israel and Prime Minister Netanyahu in the coming days?
Led the effort in the United States Senate and U.S. military aid to Israel.
End it there, but he won't. He should end it there. And I don't know what he's going to say, but I have a feeling that it's going to be the words Netanyahu is going to come out of his fucking mouth, and it doesn't need to. He could just end it right there. But no, right, Bernie? Not just ending it.
And I think what happened in Gaza is, in fact, and I say this reluctantly, is genocide.
Why would you say it reluctantly?
Why did it take you so long to say it in the first place?
It took him over 2 years. Please. He only said it in the last few months.
I know. And I guarantee you the name Netanyahu is going to come out of his mouth. And I have not even seen this clip.
States should not be funding the Israeli military. And now, by the way, in case some of you don't know, there's a defense bill that is coming up which has the U.S. in cooperation with the Israeli government in terms of the development of new weapons. And that is a provision which I will very strongly oppose.
Okay, so it wasn't the whole interview. Because one of the things that pisses me off the most about Bernie is he constantly goes with the Netanyahu talking point. That as if this isn't a problem except for Netanyahu. That's the problem.
I mean, he does use his platform to identify this, but again, this is the whole thing about it always being this Netanyahu issue. Bernie, Smotrich and Gavir are even worse than Netanyahu. And I never hear you say their names. You could say his government, but Jen, you have been very clear that since the first Intifada in 1987, there has been a dramatic generational shift in
Yes.
the type of people that now live in Israel compared to what it was over the first 40 years.
Yeah, I mean, Israel's always been a secular state, but certainly it's gotten like more and more and more radical. It has. And a lot of the people that would be your more normal, not that, look, the whole concept, we know that I am like averse to the whole concept of an ethno-state in general, but there were people that were living there that were much more moderate minded and weren't so like bloodlusty. They just weren't. And a lot of the more reasonable people did start to leave. And that really picked up in 2014 when Netanyahu came back into power. And that was when we started seeing huge increases, unfortunately, a lot of them in South Florida, of Israelis, because it was even too extreme for people. And that's the truth. So the people that were left are the rabid, psycho, very right-wing people. And then where are you going? Who excused you? So it really has skewed, just like everywhere else, we've kind of skewed to the right. And now we're seeing it pull back in this hence revolution. But what I would say the people also in Israel, this is what I was going to tell you, is that the people that don't serve, a lot of the people leave Israel because they don't want to serve. And then there's the people that don't serve and go to jail. And those are also your more moderate people. But over the past, let's say 10, 12 years, a lot of those people have just left. So now you have a fully rabid, because the the IOF wasn't a rabid like thing like that. It wasn't like that in the sense of full of religious zealots, like it is now. It just shows the shift in the population.
Sorry, I'm still shifting.
Oh, 1,000%. I did not know that when I was in Herzliya. But now, please, the entire thing needs to be lanced like a boil off of humanity.
You know, we have said before that one of the only reasons why this country has not been taken over by its government is because this country is armed. And considering everything that's going on right now, pushing for unlimited amounts of censorship, liberal Zionism making a massive comeback through the Democratic Party, which again should not surprise anybody. This is why we've talked about J Street and these other organizations that will replace AIPAC, because again, there are dozens of pro-Israel lobbying groups. AIPAC just happens to be very prominent right now, but they're not the only one. And when they want to shut people up, this is what just happened during a recent protest of the Israel Day in Toronto.
They're making her take this off? Are you guys making her take that off?
We're giving her a caution. We're trying to avoid her from being arrested.
Why can't she have that on her foot? Wait, she can get arrested for having that on her foot?
We cautioned her first. If she continues to keep it on, then she
But why? You can't have a flag. What if
it's inciting hate? And if we see anybody else doing it, they'll get the same caution.
How is it inciting hate though?
It's inciting hate because they're stepping on a flag, sir. So a different country, and it's a tumultuous situation with people yelling back and forth.
But how is that?
Oh, Christ.
Okay, so abolition now. And I would direct people back to the Mission Abolition series that I have done. These people are stormtroopers, and they're just following their orders. And yeah, I do believe they made it a crime. Toronto is a very Zionist.
Exceptionally. In fact, I think you mentioned this to me. You talk to any Canadian who's not in Toronto, it's like they don't claim Toronto as part of Canada. Like regular Canadians.
Montreal. That's Montreal.
No, I think, no.
Sure?
I
just know Toronto's very Zionist, but it's
That's
still.
my point.
Oh, yeah, it is.
Like Canada as a country is not Zionist, but Toronto is.
No, yes, they are. I can introduce you to an entire colony of Zionists in
Vancouver.
In Vancouver.
Well, Vancouver would have been the other city. All right, we'll finish it up.
I'm telling you, it's a hate crime.
That's a hate crime?
Yes.
That's a hate crime? These guys make up the law as they go along. That's not a hate crime.
Zionism is not a religion. It is a political ideology for terrorists. That is what it is. So when Bernie tells you, I want the effort in the United States Senate to make
I
sure.
don't even want you to do it anymore. I mean, it's sad because I know you're good at it, but now it's official that every single one of your impersonations is someone that I'm disgusted with.
Well, that's unfortunate.
Or wouldn't want anywhere near me or anybody.
Bernie,
At least I don't think Bernie's at least not into little girls, but other than that, I'm disgusted with him.
now, Bernie, unfortunately, is just a coward, and that is unfortunate. You needed to
It's
be
so ugly.
Bernie, when you said back in 2015 that the American people are, I think the American people are ready for a political revolution. Yeah, they were, Bernie. And that's why, rest in peace, the sane progressive was right to call you out back then, saying, do not use the word revolution if you're not willing to be a revolutionary. And he was not. He folded like a cheap suit. He had it until the convention. And at the convention, he could have made things very interesting, and he chose not to. And people could think whatever they want about their conspiracies, about why he did or didn't do it. But the fact of the matter is, he didn't do it. He caved. That is why Trump won. And that is the end of history, or at least the history that we could have had. We ended up in the Biff horrific version of this future. It should not be lost on anybody that the alternate future is from 2015, the very year that this all started. Back to the Future knew what they were up to. Bob Zemeckis and Bob Gale, they knew what they were doing when they were writing that film. My Lord, talk about accurate. But let's end on a positive note, shall we, Jen?
You have a positive note?
Jen, the Zio Hunter has to make an appearance before we go.
Okay. All right. I'm getting it.
There are people in this country and around the world especially that have been taking probably some pretty good notice of what the Albanians have been doing in their respective country. That they are not taking this lying down. That they are tired of watching Israelis especially come into their country and think that they're going to get away with what they get away with. So here's an example of a nice little Italian cafe in Naples that said to the Israelis that showed up, get the fuck out of here.
You're proud of what? You're a Jew hater. 2,000 years of persecution over here. You're a terror supporter. Terror supporter. That's what you are. 2,000 years of persecution, not enough for you. Zionists go to our Jewish land.
You don't have Jewish land. There is no such thing. You are clearly an Eastern European expat, and you think that you own that land. You think you own everything wherever you go. But as they're learning, no, you don't. The world is rising up against you, not just because of the genocide, but because you're shitty, shitty fucking people.
No one likes
terror supporter. Anti-Semitic you are. Anti-Semitic. Look at you.
We're not afraid.
I'm not afraid.
We are not afraid.
We're not afraid of people like you, terror supporters.
You are deathly afraid of
this
people.
This is an old video. You know this is old, right?
It's not that old.
I think this one was from I remember seeing this like a while ago.
No.
No? Okay.
No.
Okay.
Porter.
We are not afraid of you. We are
you worship Maria and Jesus who were Jews all the time, right? They were born and died as a Jew.
Yeah, this is not.
No problem. We will not pay. No problem. If you don't want my money. Terror supporter over here. Terror supporter. That's what you are.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's from a while back, and it's good. I'm glad that that's happening. And whoever keeps asking about Sheila coming on, no one said Sheila was coming on tonight.
Again, I don't give a shit if it's old. I am merely pointing out that the Italians are doing what other countries like the Albanians are doing now, that this is what's coming for them. And on top of everything else, they don't give a fuck if you call them terror supporter, anti-Semite, or any of this. Again, it doesn't matter anymore. What a surprise.
Well, that's why it happened. Just like when Zio Pussy stands there and says that these things, what did he? I forget what he referred to the protest as, like uprisings occurring at these synagogues. Yes, because that's where they're auctioning off illegal property. So right. It's the same concept. Yes, that is happening. But
here's one more from Italy. Or Italian. So as you can see, even though you can only see part of it, she has wrapped herself in the Israeli flag sitting inside this cafe in Germany, this Italian cafe, and they have asked her, and they've asked them, get out of here. We don't want you here. First of all, why in the hell would you sit down at a cafe and wrap yourself in an Israeli flag? Like, what in the fuck? What?
Well, that's why I think it's very staged to some extent. They do it to be antagonistic. They do it to bait people into. They do it to bait people into these confrontations. They want that to happen. They want to make a scene. And for a long time and for many years, it worked. You know, all of those instances of anti-Semitism would be much more looked at as real anti-Semitism, and now it's just not working anymore. So they could keep doing it. They could keep waving the flag and baiting people. I mean, at some point, it'll be a flag of a non-existent nation. It'll be like, I don't know, like you call it Atlantis or Narnia or whatever.
Yeah.
يلا برا طردوكو برا
Thank you, Espresso House.
فتنا طردوكو يلا out.
I don't know what that means in German or Italian, but my guess is that it's probably a derogatory word thrown at those shitty people. And last, but certainly not least, for those who think that Jen and I don't fight, trust me, if fighting is called for and it's necessary, you got to put up your dukes.
You made it sound like we were fighting each other.
Why? I love Palestine, man. Come on. There's losers. There's a genocide going on. Really? We're going to win. There's a genocide going on.
Genocide's a war. It's not a genocide. I fucking hate Palestine. I hope they all do.
Yo, yeah, you're just showing your true colors, bro. Yeah. He said you hope what? You hope what?
I hope all the Palestinians get...
What? Yo, you're fucked up, bro. You have no heart. How about this? Since I have boxing gloves in a car, let's have a boxing match.
Okay. How's it feel being Neon's leech?
Neon's leech?
Yeah, how's
that's my brother. Neon's my brother. Neon's my brother, bro. You came to us. Let's get boxing gloves and let's box.
The stream help you view?
No, let's get boxing gloves. Come on.
Yeah, in a gym. I'm not going to box you on the street.
No, we'll box right here.
Let's go to a gym.
We'll box in the grass.
No, I'm not going to get
We'll box in the grass.
No, we can go to a gym.
Why you want to go to a gym?
Because it's legal there. I'm not going to box here.
It's legal there? Yeah. Yo, Saddam, let's go to the gym, bro.
No, you're not.
Yo, we go to the gym right now. Let's go.
Let's go.
What gym are you talking about?
Go to one you want to go to. You want to go to mine?
No, he's saying if there's one nearby. There's one in Brooklyn. Which one is yours?
Brooklyn's too far.
Which one's yours? We're going to go to his one, Saddam. We're going to go to his one. Hi, we'll give you the address. I got you. Say less.
We're watching a fight.
How long are you in the city for?
Don't worry about it, bro.
I was drinking. I'm not going to box you now.
Yo, get the fuck out of here, bro.
Wow, what did I say?
Box right now.
He agreed to box and now he's pussying out.
Let's go to the gym. Let's go. Get the gym. I have to do it right here.
He's scared. He's scared.
Right here, bro.
Let's go. Let's go. Take off your tongue. Take off your tongue.
Come on, let's go.
Do you feel the need to flash out while I'm playing this?
I think that when people comment on things, it's relevant to do it while it's happening. Yeah.
I don't think that statement was relevant, duly noted. No, this is not staged. This guy is telling him, I want to fight you. Let's duke it out with boxing gloves. You want to support Israel? I support Palestine. But this guy's not going to do shit because he's Israeli and they don't believe in fighting fair. They also don't believe in fighting men. They like to fight women and children. That's what they do. I don't know who this guy is. I don't give a fuck who he is. But this is a Zio Hunter segment, and this is what I'm doing.
Chambers Street. Chambers Street. You're gonna assault me? Chambers Street. So we'll do it in the gym. We'll do a gym with a
came
ref.
up to me here. We're gonna do it
Chambers
here,
Street. You're gonna assault me?
Came up to me
Why
here.
trying to kiss me?
I'm not assaulting you.
You're like kissing my neck.
Love
Ew,
that.
you're gay. You're gay.
Oh, yeah, but wait a minute, pause this.
You're gay.
Anybody who says that Israel is the only place in West Asia where the LGBTQ community is safe and that you're not safe in Palestine, this is case in point.
Okay.
And but here's my question. Is he a fighter?
No, I don't think so.
Well, okay. He just travels around with boxing equipment in his car?
Or maybe. Again, for God's sake.
No.
You're gay.
Clean your teeth. Clean your teeth. Clean your teeth.
You're gay. You're gay.
Your teeth are yellow. Your teeth are yellow.
They certainly are.
No, I'm not trying to get assaulted.
I don't think you understand this.
Get out of the park.
Let's go to Chambers. Let's go to Chambers.
Leave the park. Leave the park.
Chambers. Let's go to Chambers. Let's go to Chambers.
Pulled up on me here. Let's do it here.
What do you mean? Get the camera out of here, bro.
Leave the park. Leave the park. We're not trying to assault you. We're trying to have you square off safely.
Please stop fighting in public with 15 people around me, bro.
We're not gonna.
That's crazy.
Yeah, that's
Go to
why.
a gym with a ref.
Do it
and a
here.
ring.
Now you're fighting now.
But he can end up going to prison for this.
Get the fuck out of here.
He'd go to prison.
He probably would. But as you can see,
Well, if he's a fighter, if he's trained in fighting, which I think he was referencing the gym, which probably is like a fighting gym. Like if this is a trained fighter, then any charges against him are going to be further enhanced because he's trained to be lethal. So he can really get in a lot of trouble for picking a fight if he's a trained fighter. Just putting that out there.
well, again, he was
Hey,
basically.
you don't like me to comment, but you show me things and I have legal questions.
No, but I agree with you. This is one of those situations where they could have mutually squared off, but you can also understand the rage that somebody like Adam Saleh would have for this dick who is not only claiming to be Israeli, but telling this man who is a Muslim that I want all Palestinians to be killed. Like,
Oh,
all of them.
no. Are you thinking that I'm not thinking he should want to beat the shit out of him? Oh, I think he should definitely beat the shit out of
Listen,
him.
I'm not disagreeing with you that his argument is predicated on.
You're right, he could be
your
a-
argument that you're making is that the Israeli is trying to pull a Shmuley, if you will, on this guy so that
Yes.
he can claim assault. But in reality, you could tell he's scared shitless. And maybe he should be. But that's how all Israelis should be made to feel. They should all feel like this guy feels. To go up to him and say, oh, I fucking want to kill every Palestinian. Like that.
I don't know who this is. I don't care. Take your trad wife bullshit or whatever crush you have on Peter and go elsewhere. Enough. Thank
Stop
you.
it.
See?
So has had, okay. So he's had boxing training. Okay.
Okay. I'm saying that his felony will be enhanced. What I am not suggesting that this piece of shit does not deserve to have his ass kicked. What I'm suggesting is that you need to have someone who's an amateur do it. Okay. So this guy getting all in his face and doing it is potentially a lot more having more legal consequence than someone who could just come in and beat the shit out of him. Like, let's say you, because this is, I'm just, it doesn't make sense to take an enhanced felony when you could, I'm just thinking practically.
When you're thinking about these innocent children and these people and just to so brazenly say, oh yeah, I want to kill them all. People like this should not be accepted in society. Ever.
No, but there's enough other people that are not trained boxers that can do that.
I'm not
I'm
disputing
just
that.
suggesting people be strategic. See, Jen is correct. I know.
Yeah, Jen is always correct. And I'm always wrong. So
No,
there you have it.
no. But I am saying if he's if he's a licensed fighter, that is correct. But it's very,
I think
of course
Sonny
you're not going to fight him.
think Sonny is correct in that the whole point is that Salah was showing
Yes.
that they're all cowards, all of them. They can drop bombs, they can use snipers to shoot infants, but when they're actually confronted by people that are at least their size
Oh, yeah. No.
and of the same sex, this is why so many more women that are Israeli talk shit in a way that makes you want to beat the ever living shit out of them. Yeah, it is an elitist, broken culture that has no place in this country. And we will do what we can to ensure that that happens sooner rather than later. If you enjoyed this conversation this evening, which we hope you did, we hope you'll consider going over to patreon.com/revolutionary change for as little as $5 a month. You can become a supporter of our small but mighty, despite heavily suppressed, yet still growing channel. Let's give a big shout out to Winter Walsh from the land down under with the $2 Aussie. Thank you so very, very much. Willie, it's been a while. Guys, subscribe to the Willie Bragg Show on YouTube with the $5. I stand with the people of Cuba, and we need to end the third criminal embargo.
This criminal embargo
against them.
Exactly.
Tony D with the 29th month of membership. Jerry's daughter works for Barry Weiss's Free Press. There you go.
There it is.
Nothing to see there, folks. Trust me.
You know what's kind of sad about some of this is that I used to have so much fun playing Jewish geography with people, and any of my, fellow tribes people out there, you understand Jewish geography. And now it's like it's dead.
You have to know if they're Jewish or you have to know if they're Zionist.
I need disclaimers and references now.
I agree. Willie again with the $5. Randy Fine is the worst congressional Republican, and Debbie Wasserman Schultz is the worst congressional Democrat. And what do they have in common? No, not just that they're Zionists. They're both congressional representatives in the state of Florida. Because why not? Jim Talib with the $5. Always great to see you, pal. Noah Linden with the $5. That's what I said before. You didn't read the first part of my rant, bro. I was saying it's sus when men refuse to date women their own age. Again, it depends on the gap. It depends
on the gap and the age, but if you are dating, if you're an adult man and you're dating a woman, even if, like, in my mind, let's say that it's legal, but she looks like a child because her brain is still not fully developed yet, then it's icky. It's just icky.
Great. Christina Suazo with the 1999. Sending you love from Long Island, New York. You guys rock. Christina.
Thank you on the island.
The color scheme is also not lost on me. The orange, blue, and white. Go New York, go New York.
Colors on this? Can you pick the colors?
Not necessarily, but what I see is somebody who, whether by intention or accident, is a New York Knicks fan, and the New York Knicks are very likely going to win the NBA title this weekend. We'll see. Or maybe they have to win it in New York, but I believe they will win it. Noah Linden with the $2. Women are not cars. They don't lose value with age. Yeah, that's true. I don't know why anyone would suggest otherwise, but
well, in certain industries that unfortunately has been shown to not be true, and in general workforce that has shown to not be true. And there are a myriad of statistics that can show you that when women hit a certain age, they cease to exist. They cease to exist in terms of getting employment. They cease to exist in terms of how their doctors speak to them. They cease to exist. It's true. So, yes, thank you for acknowledging that.
Libertarian Social Dem with the 199. Please talk about the America First versus MAGA this Saturday. I probably will. Saturday is not only Game 5 of the NBA Finals, it's also going to be the America 250 White House lawn MMA event that they're hosting. Yeah, that'll be a cluster F and a half. But yeah, I'm sure there'll be.
Mud of Genius is asking me a question. When you know a woman's brain is that of an adult, the same as a human brain. Somewhere around age 26 is when, generally, give or take, our brains sort of stop developing. So if you are a grown-ass man and you're dating an 18, 19-year-old woman, even though it's legal, ew. That's why.
Libertarian Social Dem with the 499. Politicians need to stop emphasizing their religion, particularly conservatives, and demand America is a Christian country. Make America secular and diverse, tolerant again. Hey, that's what the founding fathers wanted. Most of them anyway, not all of them, but hey, you know, people like to rewrite history as often as they can. Citizen Pendejo with the 20 pesos. Only in New York, celebs made the win about themselves. I would definitely agree, but Mariska Haggerty has a certain amount of leeway to do as she pleases. By the way, Robert Burke says hi.
Did you get a message?
I sent him a quick message just saying Mariska's definitely having the time of her life right now. And he's like, yes, she is. So look, I'm happy for her. I'm happy for her. I'm happy for I'm happy for John McEnroe. I mean, listen, there are people that are New York sports celebrities that have been waiting a long time for the Knicks to win a title. It is unfortunate that Jerry Seinfeld and Adam Sandler and a whole bunch of other Zios are at the front of the line in celebration, and they paid probably six figures, or even worse, were given those tickets to sit there. You know, Fat Joe gets tickets given to him. I don't know who the hell he's in bed with, but I know he's very close with DJ Khaled, because that's who the two of them probably took up a few chairs when they were sitting courtside at the game the other day. DJ Khaled is one of the biggest cowards I've ever seen. And that guy definitely has skeletons in his fucking closet.
I wish for DJ Khaled that he ends up surrounded by the people of Palestine.
They'll stone him to death.
I didn't say that. I'm just saying, I hope that he ends up surrounded by the people of Palestine.
Libertarian Social Dem with the 199. Dan Bilzerian, his crew, and other groypers are toxic. I've been saying it, brother, and I've been getting shit for it because, you know, you get people that think Dan Bilzerian is America first. But I got to tell you, if you are strictly, first of all, he exudes elements of that toxic masculinity that just doesn't work. And on top of that, he makes it very clear that he hates Jews. Now, people can hate whoever they want, but if you're trying to beat Randy Swine out of Congress, talking and acting the way Dan talks and acts, it's not going to work. I want it to work, but it's not going to. Jen and I have done this for years. We know what it takes. This is not, again, some people think it's rocket science. It's not. It's just not. You have to know your audience. You have to meet people where they are. And if you can't, you know, Julian Aronofsky is still making posts on social media praising Wasserman Schultz, saying that she should absolutely run in that black district.
Wait, who is?
Aronofsky.
Jill that I know?
Oh, yeah.
That woman with...
Oh, yeah. Uh-huh.
Oh, so unfortunate.
When you understand why people hate Jews, this is one of those reasons why. Because they pretend like they're persecuted. And part of it is because they're trained from a very young age that they are persecuted. Even though they're affluent, it doesn't matter. You're a victim. It's like when people talk about the Democratic Party and the way they talk to the black community, like they're forever victims, like they can never get out of their own way. Well, in affluent Jewish communities, they are always told that they are the victim from a very young age. And that's why when people push back on them and tell them, no, Zionism in Israel is evil, they think that you just try to murder them. He murdered me. Yes, that's how they think. So somebody like this old Jewish lady, who's a nice lady, I'm not going to say that she's some nasty bitch. She's not. But
no, she tried to hate me. She tried to not like me. I you know, after the first campaign, I wormed my way in with her because, you know, I know, but they still they like Debbie.
They do. And that is a Jewish tribal knee-jerk reaction. And that's what happens in many cultures. It's true. Do I think that that this lady is intentionally trying to throw the black community under the bus? No, because I think that she just doesn't get it. And she's never will. She's old.
She's old and been Democrat forever and just support, like, very
tribal. And affected, as you like to say. Ozma, always a pleasure. Thank you for the $9.99. Great show today, guys. Love you both. Right back at you, my friend. And finally, Jesse Miranda, Gay Robot Sex. Thank you for becoming a YouTube member.
What kind of name is that?
A name that definitely wanted to be read aloud on the channel. So we hope you enjoyed it. It's been a long one, but a good one. If you have, check out Julian Andreone's work. Hope you guys got your fill of all the great stuff that we covered tonight. Smash that like button. Share.
Oh, thank you, Miguel.
Do all those things that we ask you to do. We love you all. We appreciate you all. I'll see you Saturday.
Free Palestine.
Good night, guys.